Let's do the classic open Twitch and make sure we're live. Righty, radio check, radio check, radio check.
Radio check, radio check.
Oh, we are nice and loud. Lovely, lovely. If you want to also check yourself, I'm currently on an ad, so I can't check your audio, but we'll come back to it. Cool. Alrighty, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inters Racing League, welcome to Round 2, Season 7, and welcome to the big boys, Tier 1, the Bahrain Endurance GP, 100% distance, but before that point, we got 18 minutes of qualifying, which is already starting to tick down. My name is Jamie Perry, but you can call me JP. I am joined in the commentary box by the very talented and lovely Jeneth Lee. Jeneth, how are you on this fantastic Sunday evening?
Yeah, it will be a very good one, and it's 100% in Bahrain. It's a long story for us today in Campus with my palace here. And how's it going yourself?
I'm good. I hope you're well yourself as well. It's a great weekend for racing. It's a great day for racing, obviously, as the setting sun is here in Bahrain. We are under qualifying conditions. I believe it is just a single qualifying session, unless it is full quali. I'm sure someone can tell me in the Twitch chat and let me know if I am correct or not on that information. But yeah, we are currently underway here in qualifying, 15 minutes 40 on the clock. And right now, just starting to tick down as the cars make their way around the Sakhir Grand Prix.
Yeah, we have to go through the grid first time being first, and we have the Shadow in the RB with his Palace, Checker Fat, and in Mercedes, my teams is Shanya, and as well as Webscene. And in Ferrari, we have GLX with its Palace Vankeys, and Mercedes is Mercus, and Aussie 2K Go. And in Aston Martin, we have Ghost Strip, and his Palace is got Jeff Robson. Sorry about that one. And Liquid J in Williams with his Palace SFR. And it's a kick, Farmer Sam. Pala with Kip Crew, and I think it should be Alpine K5 M5, and partners with Kali, JT Kali, and Red Bull. Apollo with its partners. Where's the Red Bulls? And the partner is not here. I think it's not in this track. And Hex, we have Fossey, and partners with Andrew. That's it. Was the grip today, and we miss one of the Red Bull's driver, and probably you're going to join us later or something.
Yeah, an incredibly close and competitive grid for the entirety of Tier 1. We have a few reserves out today, but still very, very close between every single one of these drivers, even the reserves who are stepping in. Currently on board with checkered flag, he's just got purple in the first and second sector, approaching to the end of the third and final, just approaching now into turn 14 and 15, past the detection zone where he would activate his DRS and flat to the floor, pedal to metal, all the way to the timing line where he will set down a 27.870 to set down the first banker lap of the session tonight. As you can see, big name Yusuf is not here this evening, which is significantly big, simply because if we consider the fact of his performance in Silverstone, he was fighting not only for P1 but in those podium positions, also in qualifying as well. So for someone like him not to be here, it can affect his championship quite significantly in the long term, just by missing out on points, let's say, here in Bahrain this evening.
Yes, indeed. We're lucky that Mercedes, it's the McLaren's drivers who I think is winning last racing in Silverstone. So see what's going on. He is now still in the pit lane, and then another McLaren's drivers that Shang is P5. He's running down to the DRS zones for the sector 2. And then he set a time for the sector 2 likely to be 1:06.15, and he heads to the second last corners to the sector 3 in the main straight to the 7th gear, and then he's going to around the corner in the last one, see what there he got 16% of the ERS, and then straight ahead to the finish line, and then he crossed the line by 128.38 is now P4.
Not bad from the McLaren driver on the board. Timing sheet lights up and he goes ahead of Farmer Sam in the Kick Sauber. Ferrari of GLX Cam also in the Ferrari making his way around, but it's the actual Alpine, I believe, K5M5 coming back into the pit lane. His teammate of Farmer Sam, Chillpill on an outlap, but Farmer Sam crossed the line. 2.3 seconds improvement, goes up to P3. Purple in the final sector. Haas as well. Adam Riziums goes up to P6 with a 28.817, and Aston Martin not too far behind. Tyler FF goes up to P2 before I could catch him, and on a 0.25, around roughly 2/10 off what P1 could set down originally, so not too bad from from the Aston Martin, but Kick Sauber, the teammate to Farmer Sam, getting ready on his fast lap. Same for the teammate to GLX Cam in the Ferrari. I actually believe that is GLX Cam that's currently pushing as we continue on board with the Scuderia, but moving away from the prancing horses, I believe the Mercedes, if that may be Aussie 2K Goat, and it is, so he'll most likely be coming back into the pit lane. So what about the McLaren Shawnee as well? Yeah, seems to be the case. So a lot of the drivers who were originally pushing starting to come back into the pit lane. So let's switch over to Chillpill, who seems to be one of the first new drivers coming out of the pit lane, currently pushing on their fast lap, going down in elevation, sticking flat to the floor before downshifting slowly but surely, lifting off the brakes to avoid any type of locking on the front or rear tires before once again upshifting in gears 6th before you sweep all the way to the left-hand side, get the rotation, 2 left-hand corners before once again going flat to the floor to the next DRS detection zone, out of the exit of one of the trickiest corners around Bahrain, obviously referring to turn 10. Once that throttle is lifted off, make sure to immediately apply that that brake, my apologies, and continuing back up the hill out of the exit of turn 11, 12, and then at the peak of the hill at 13, look for the apex of the corner, rotate through. Very nicely done by the Kick Sauber. Seems to be weaving left and right, however, and his battery does seem to be saved up on 92%, so it's clear to see that he has backed out of it and is now staying in P15 where he was originally.
Yeah, I think he's going to find his hot lap now, actually, and then you can see that it's just John back to the game, and the scene is disqualified and also coasted. Mercedes, I don't know what happened. We can see, and the Red Bull driver is already joined the team. This is Mr. Cool Cars. He's joined by the Red Bull. Then you can see a Ferrari cross the line. Who's that? So you already get the time already, and then he starts his hot lap, which is GLX Cam, and he stricting ahead to. I think it's making wants to be Mr. Venky is coming from his hot lap, and then he spin around in a I call it 10, and then I has to the uphill and just finish the sector 2, and I has to the turn 11 now to the main straight at the back, the sector 3, and he is using his 8 gears down to the 3rd one or 4th one, yes, for 4th one, and then he's going to cross the line very quickly, and then he set the time.
And Ghost Rider.
130 light track.
Yep, and on Ghost Rider side, 28.765 as well. A few other drivers just setting slightly slower times. They come across the line, but I'm sure improvements will be found vastly across the timing board. 8 minutes 36 on the clock, and timing continuing to tick down here in qualifying to set down who will be on pole position and who will be found in P20. I'll tell you who's going to be in P20, and that is going to be Marcus Costa in the Mercedes. They're clearly doing some type of last to first, but of course, the purple has been seen across the entirety of the Sakir Grand Prix. Nice and bright and shiny as always. Frosty Oz in the Haas, setting down the fastest time of the entire session so far, a 1:27.686, and by a significant amount as well. Checkered flag obviously on 1 lap old soft compound tyres, allowing other drivers to get past him at this current time, so I'm sure there'll be further improvements throughout the field. Let's go to Mr. Cool Cars in the Red Bull. The team from Milton Keynes currently going on to the back straight, DRS active, and clearly looking for the time at the moment, Jenneth.
Yeah, he's now has to sector to finish after the DRS only set into the sector 2, and then he's gonna finish the time in sector 2 by 1:07. It's not very good time, and then around the second last corners, I have to the sector 3 again, and there's a traffic in front of him. So many cars is walking around. The Ferrari out of the chat, don't grab on it, and he running the last corners. I have to the finish line. I think his time is not very good, but it should be in the first top 10 probably. He finished the line. It's 15, 129, 116. He's
Yep.
the man who's doing that for the Mr. Kuka in the Red Bull.
Yeah, Mr. Cool Cars, a 129, 116, all he could unfortunately achieve. It's only P15 on the board, so he has to find some solid improvements if he wants to find himself any higher up in terms of the timings at the moment. Williams of Liquid Jake currently in P17 on an outlap, so we'll get to see a fast lap from him momentarily. I do believe there's also a Red Bull who may be out in front of him, but I believe Apollo Pepsi is already one lap down and coming back into the pit lane. However, the British constructor of Williams and Liquid Jake coming across the timing line. DRS now active as he comes across the pit straight, and the aerodynamic advancements helping in his favor as he approaches into turn 1, downshifting to second gear and getting the rotation into the very tight turn 1, almost a hairpin-esque corner as you then get the throttle down, oodling with it to make sure you balance it out, don't cause too much wheel spin and cause your rear to lose out, and then completely spinning yourself out of contention of both qualifying and a race procedure. Liquid Jake now continuing in the finish of Sector 1 at 28.5.892 is not what the timing should be, but continuing on, apparently it's a purple first sector. On my live telemetry it says that it is just green. Overall approaching into the treacherous turn number 10, first 9, try and break down without causing too much front locking. You get the rotation through, and then you need to get that throttle down as quickly and as precise as possible. Williams doing a fantastic job as he gets onto the curbs, gets the rotation through, uses the left-hand side of the car to make sure he can lift onto that curb before then just making sure to use the apexes of the corner to maximize his racing line and get the best out of this lap at the moment. Purple in the first and now purple in the second sector. We're down to 20% on his ERS, absolutely dumping everything he possibly can into this lap. Now goes into the 120. So what can the Williams set down this time round as he comes across the timing line into the 25s? It's gonna be a 28, 3, 2, 1. It is into the top 10. It's P8, and it's not too bad as he is gone ahead of his teammate Finns, who was quite competitive last time out in Silverstone. We'll have to wait and see what his lap will show as we approach to the end of qualifying here. A few more people currently on an outlap at the moment. You there, Jeneth?
Yes, I'm here. Is the Kipu is just not doing very good in the sector 1 and sector 2. However, is the sector 3 is just dropped down a little bit, and it cost the sector 2 by 106.27 something, and then it will be very good time check for him, Liquid J, and that was he is doing. And then everybody's now in the pit, and there's a couple of cars coming out lap, and we can have a look about the Ghost Renders, which is now he's gonna set his hot lap. I believe he's going to finish line, and then he's trying to burn his ERS, and DRS is already opens his wheel wings and down into the first corner by running down to the third gear, and it is so narrow. I really hate this corner, to be honest. And then he's rushed into the the first DRS zone of the track, and then down into burning about the ERS for around 50% already, and then that will be the turn which is finished the sector 1 by 28.7 is 200 down already, 288, and purple sectors of him, and is round the corner which is turn 8, the hairpin, and down to the corner, likely corner line, turn 9 and turn 10, and ahead to the second DLS zone. In front of them is the Fanfara Ferrari and drivers in front of him, and then he is burning his ERS quite very aggressively, and down to 30% lap and round the corner, so Saturday, and he birthday, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Aston Martin couldn't keep it inside the white line, ran a little bit too wide, unfortunately broke too late, and then tried applying throttle like normal and decided not to disadvantage himself, tried keeping the same amount of throttle and brake usage he would usually use, and it caused him to run wide off the white line, and has now seen him invalidate on this occasion. 10% in terms of battery. Will he see him come back into the pit lane? Yes, we will, and the Aston Martin doing that as he diverts back onto the pit lane line. Farmer Sam in the Kick Sauber has been pushing his way around the the circuit, but so has the Ferrari of Verk in P15. He's just come across the timing line, though, to get going. So let's go back to the Kick Sauber, who currently finds himself in P6 at the moment, continuing flat to the floor, pedal to metal, coming up the hill out of the exit of turn 11. You swivel your way around before you reach the apex of turn 12. He has lifted off, however, and the Kick Sauber clearly not happy with his time on the board, clearly not happy with how his lap has gone. ERS is actually all the way to the top at the moment, so I actually do wonder, this has happened on a few occasions, and obviously coming from you, Jenneth, as a driver, do you guys like to do a double, out lap in Bahrain to get your tyres up to temperature before eventually starting to push? Is there something about maybe tyre temps that's kind of hard to get it up to that range at a place like Bahrain?
Yes, indeed, it's just rarely getting the temperature very high, good enough in the windows for the racing, but many of the driving is doing 2 hour lap and instead of 1 hour lap, but my behavior is usual that I'm doing 1 lap and then finish. That would be my strategies, that because the tire is getting too wearing if you're doing 2 hour lap, that one reckons. And then the Kick Farm Sam is doing the purple sector in sector 1 already. In the P6 currently, Farmer Sam, and there's loads of cars out there.
Yeah, it's really starting to pile up here in qualifying. Ferrari just came across the line, Verk with the 28.040. You mentioned how Farmer Sam went purple, how unfortunately he has invalidated 3.5 tenths up on his time. More drivers starting their fast laps as they continue past the timing line on the pit straight. But let's try and seek out some drivers who are starting to finish up on what they're currently pushing on. Apollo Pepsi in the second sector, 2.5 tenths up on his time, swiveling around though, clearly struggling with the rear end of his Red Bull, and the team from Milton Keynes just seemingly backing out of it at the moment. So that's all she wrote for the time being. 35 seconds on the clock, and in the second sector, that's not easy ground for Apollo Pepsi, and that may be it in terms of what the Red Bull can achieve. 25 seconds, and I believe he will not finish this lap around. So that is all that has completed to at the end of the day. So, continuing on at the moment, looks like Aston Martin getting pretty close now. Tyler FF in the third and final sector, coming out of the exit of turn 13, 125 kilometers that you can carry through on the exit of the second last corner before eventually approaching into the 2 braking points, 150 meter board, and then eventually once you choose your braking zone, you get the rotation 2 and flat to the floor, 27.662, incredible times, only by roughly 20 milliseconds, but has managed to just get past them into provisional pole. Goes the Aston Martin Ghost Rider across the line, only goes P13. What about the Ferrari GLX Cam already across the line? Verk has already finished up on his time, so coming back into the pit lane. What about McLaren? Seems to be a good Shawnee, and checkered flag only goes P3, but good improvements by 41 milliseconds. V-Carb goes P3 and P4 on the board, 27.8 and 28.0. Frosty Oz continue to push down in the Haas at the moment. More drivers coming across the line. Mr. Cool Cars in the Red Bull, P16. He's approaching up to the timing line. What can the team from Milton Keynes in his favour set down? Unfortunately, it isn't enough. It's P12 on the board, good improvement, but nothing more than that, and it's Frosty Oz who only manages P2 on the board. No further improvements on his side. Farmer Sam 2 laps down using his battery. He's 29 milliseconds up. Can the Kick Sauber find anything left on this lap around the Sakhir Grand Prix here at the end of qualifying? Will it be Tyler FF in the Aston Martin who's on pole? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And by the end of it, it is Aston Martin. And it is the British constructor who finds himself in P1 here in Bahrain for the endurance round for Season 7 of Intiz Racing League. And wow, round 2 already looking very exciting. Tyler FF separated by Frosty Oz by 24 milliseconds. Frosty couldn't find any more time on that final lap around the circuit, and that caused Aston Martin to just nick past with a 27.662. He's got the job done, and Tyler FF in P1 as we scroll down to the remainder of the names here in qualifying. Marcus Costa disqualified himself, so now we'll be doing an accidental, let's say, last to first. Websy as well, a man who won the Silverstone Grand Prix, did not set down a time. He didn't even select his tyres. So McLaren will now start P19, but a fantastic pole position for the Aston Martin, Jenneth.
Yes, indeed, it's very unfortunate. We've seen is seeing McLaren is locking set its time and then it's already DNF or qualify whatsoever is coming back in here and then we are now waiting for the driver to get his strategy up and the tire and everything is going to reset everything about his tire pressure. The tire pressure is to start the race in the Bahrain and we will have a very long day to us with 57 laps in total.
Yeah.
It took us around 1.5 hours to finish that. We had to make a rest and then swap each other, and we make a good job in the come spots here today.
Well, we've definitely got a long one ahead of us. 308.238 kilometers in terms of race distance. Number of laps, 57. Number of corners, 15. There are 3 different DRS detection zones, one after the other out of the exit of turn 1, where you get one on the pit straight and then one immediately on the straight after the first 3 corners. A average top speed of 315 kilometers per hour. Some drivers who we normally saw right at the front like Websy and also considering Marcus Costa as well, doing a last to first in a lot of different factors. Quali strategy has finished. Race strategy is what they need to consider now as they all start to finish up on what their setup will be. We are moments away from lights out, from those 5 beaming red lights for 57 laps of action. GLX Cam has unfortunately left the session, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hold your breath. The lights go out and it's pedal to metal here for the endurance round in IRL. Tyler FF does not get the getaway he was looking for. Wheel spin and Haas is already going to be 2 abreast as we go down into turn 1. Frosty sends it down the inside. Haas is up into P1 immediately. Aston Martin's looking to try and come back at him. He's got the racing line out of the exit of turn 3 and now as he comes back onto the straight, can Aston Martin come back at him? No, he can't. A 1/10.5 separating. The Haas has managed it and he's up into P1 a little bit wide though. Out of the exit of turn 4, can't seem to keep the move in his favour. 1.5 tenths staying quite subtle at the moment, but as we go a little further down, Finns, who once again made a mistake in Silverstone in P3 last week round on the final lap, he's looking to try and make up from the mistakes we saw. Aussie 2K Goat up to P5 against the V-Carb in P6, Darkened Shadows now falls in position. V-Carb running wide, checkered flag in P4, may fall out to Aussie 2K Goat in the Mercedes. Will it be the team from Brackley, or will it be the team from the Italy country? Looks like though yellow flag has been deployed. 10-second time penalty for Ghost Rider, and that has gone terribly wrong in his favour. What happened there, Jenneth?
Yeah, this is Andrews in the P19 and Chantis Ghost Riders in the Hess and Aston Martin. They crashed each other in the turn 9. Which is unfortunately accident. I think there's got some damage of those cars, and then you can have to see the position is P8 McLaren's driver past the Ferrari, and then the kicks one wise the kick pulls, and then there will be Mr. Coolman, Mr. Cool car, and the P15, and you can see there's the battle between Apollo Pepsi and Venkis, and the P2 is already switched to SFR, and Checker Fat jumped into the preview in the corner 4, which is and we will see another Aston Martin driver, this is Tesla, and then down into the P4 already, and then we can have a look about the tire strategy, what they are doing, and indeed there will be a couple of the there will be a red flag. This is what we see from the complimentary box. I believe there will be a red flag.
And as you can see, telemetry starting to spread out a little bit more. Apologies for the interruption. Please continue.
Okay, so Positives is already set. You've got to reset the lobby and see what's going on. And then I don't know whether this is some information to the driver already, and they keep racing the lap 2.
Oh, Chill Pill retiring, by the way. Yellow flag's been deployed. The kick Sauber has not reached the point where we would go into the pit lane, so the kick has now retired on circuit. Will there be a VSC or safety car that would deploy? Right now, the green and black car continuing on the, looks like the runoff. Does
JP, I think
bring
it will
something?
be
Oh, safety car.
It will be a red flag. Yeah, no, it will be a red flag.
Yeah, Websy has unfortunately looked like he's gone into the barrier at the final corner, and unfortunately has brought out Red Bull as well, has gone ghosted, and Ferrari has now retired as well. Some type of problem in terms of internet. Oh, more people. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
red flag, red flag.
JP, yeah, red flag. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, red flag. Yes, it's just red flag. Yeah.
Sorry, I misheard you. Red flag deployed.
Yeah, red flag deployed. Yes, it's mentioned by Bosif already, our owner of the Inter Racing League. I don't know what happens about the red flag, but there will be something information from the committee. Check out what's the red flag look like, and then the lobby will be reset quickly. I believe that we can end the streaming for the time being, and then we can we still can talking here, and then I don't know what happens, and let me check it out with website.
We can keep streaming. It's all good. We'll keep the viewers entertained for the time being. But right now, apparently we can get some game sound. Well, Batman, I unfortunately can't. Apparently there's a glitch, so you know I can only do so much. And if PlayStation wants to be that way, and EA as well, because we know how silly they can be, unfortunately I cannot help you at this time. So yeah. Nice, simple as that. Though, red flag has been deployed. That seemed to get a little chaotic by the end of it. Potential internet issues has caused that. I'm sure we'll go from what the grid was set to in qualifying. However, it's going to be a complete and utter reset, which also gives another big opportunity for the Aston Martin. Also, I have tried leaving. There you go. We're going to try that again. But yeah, obviously the Aston Martin didn't get the best getaway. Tyler FF getting a bit of wheel spin off the line, which also caused the Haas to go two abreast with him off the race start. Jenneth, how can the Aston Martin improve next time round off the race start?
Yeah, there will be more better. Is I don't use the soft tires. The soft tire kills a lot of people when you get started, and then the hard tire is not working very well here. I believe the red flag is because a lot of the driver has been kicked out from the lobby, and I believe that I have to ask for the friend of all of the driver here, and then yes, please send me a request for the friend, and then I will ask you to jump back. It's likely we have around 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 driver has been kicked out by the lobby when you get to restart, so it's red flag.
Yep.
Good point.
Well, let's enjoy a song from EA that they've introduced as we wait for an invite so then we can get this green flag going once again. I believe it's Strangers by Kenya Grace. Great song.
The lobby is now out, and I sent you the invitations.
Yeah, it's probably PS. It is indeed. There we go.
Francis. I think I got a loss of. I add all the friends.
Alrighty. Got the spectate option eventually. I apologize if you can't hear any audio coming through into the game. Like I said, that's an EA related thing. It's happened to multiple people. It's just something they'll have to fix eventually. So, you know, apologies on my side that you guys can't hear the engines or the cars. Obviously on my side, personally, I can. But obviously sometimes when you broadcast, it can be a little fidgety. Whatever the case may be, we are getting back into this, and green flag will be waving soon enough, but red flag out for the time being for the 57 laps of action that we are expecting here for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm trying to send everybody's a friend request in case they are going to kick out by the lobby. I think it's now the server is not like very stable, and I don't know what happens there. Oh yeah, Xbox.
I think it comes down to the host, I believe, unless something happened to Checkered Flag at some point. I do believe there was a fry. It was GLX Cam who disconnected before the race started, so maybe that would have affected it in some way. I'm not sure. Whatever the case may be, everyone getting back in, and hopefully we can have a better time this time around.
Yeah, is everybody is waiting for joining the game now, and we have already 11 drivers here. Actually, 12.
Well, how about we do this to fill in some time, obviously, because we're waiting for drivers to come in and everyone waiting patiently, and even if they do leave and come back. Obviously, hashtag Ask Commentators can open up for the time being, so hashtag Ask JP and hashtag Ask Jenneth Lee. Any questions you have for the commentators, please let us know and we shall answer. If that's truthfully or not, that's up to Jenneth and I. Either way, we... shall wait for that, but also just wait for some racing to once get underway.
Sure, we can just answer any questions from you guys and...
Hashtag Ask Jenneth Lee, what is your favourite food? Said by Jerempot.
Is that what he asked?
Yes, he said, what is your favourite food, Jenneth?
My favourite food... I don't know, is that in Hong Kong, it's a Chinese... part of the China, and then very local food is called how to say? I don't know what you say in English.
I mean,
wonton. Yeah.
You could get Google Translate if you want. You say wonton.
Yeah, wonton. Yes, wonton. Which is 8 pieces of from skin and inside with the string and also the pork, and then they put it in the water, just like a dumper or something, but it's actually called wonton dumper, and it looks nice, very tasty. So if next time you come to Hong Kong, you have to go to some wonton shop to get one of the dish of this very delicious. I really like that. I just finished in my lunch hour. This is wonton.
like dumplings.
Dumpling, yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I guess.
How about you?
To be fair, the question wasn't made for me, but I'll answer. I feel, I don't know, just an Australian with some Dutch heritage. You don't really get very national dishes. I like myself some pizza. Pizza's quite nice for me. I don't know. I'm quite a generic food person, so I'm not too complicated when it comes to food. I like everything. Actually, to be fair, I had some Vietnamese yesterday. It was quite nice.
Oh yes, it's pizzas. I like pizzas in Hong Kong as well. I don't know. Is there a different style in a Western country like in Australia, such as?
Yeah, like if like certain dishes and stuff are presented differently from what they may be in different. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've been to plenty of countries. Singapore, Vietnam, Bali, Malaysia. That's specifically Asia. I've been to all around Europe as well. But, I've tried plenty of different dishes and whatnot. There's definitely, like, a difference, compared to maybe how things are served and treated in, those countries compared to what you see in Australia, so...
Yeah, last time I've been in Italy, and I tried one of the pieces in Roma, and Rome, yeah. And it looked like very delicious, but inside I just asking the restaurant staff, the waiters, and then actually the pizza is come from vegetable only and no meat, but it tastes actually like meat, and
yeah.
Wow, it's so amazing. I don't know, I can't remember which shop is that, but that is what I experienced last time in Italy.
I heard in Italy they fold their pizzas. Like they get a pizza but then they fold it. Like if it was like a wrap.
Yes. They like
good.
to. Yeah, they like to. I don't know how to how to explain it. They want to like wrap everything wrap up by two pieces of the pizza, and they enjoy that kind of eating style, and it's just very strange from different not strange. I mean, it's a different style of the eating style. So,
I will say this, because a lot of my family, especially on my mother's side, is Dutch. So we've been to the Netherlands 3-4 times at this point. And we're going back in December as well. It's like one of my most travelled countries to go to. And there's one thing that was made for me once, and it was delicious. It was a Dutch dessert, and it's called tompoesum, and it's like a wafer with cream, like a custard, and like icing, and then like whatever flavour of your choice, and it's delicious.
Yes. And I last summer I have some opportunities that I could go to Switzerland. No, I mean the before summer, long time ago. Not summer, in the winter time, and I go to Switzerland, and I enjoy one of the dinner in the boat. Actually, it's traveling around the river, and then you can enjoy 1.5 hour dinners in the ship trip, a boat trip. And I try deer meat.
Yep.
Is that deer? Deer makes sense to you? It's
Yeah,
raw.
that's... Oh, right.
Yeah, it's raw, and it tastes really, really good. And also they didn't put a lot of sauce there and seasoning, nothing. Just very warm.
You know what? I'm a very boring person. Like, let's say with like a steak, right? That someone would ask, like, do you want it like rare, medium rare? Do you want it like well done? Like, what do you want it? And just with any type of beef or meat or steak or whatever it may be, I say well done. And obviously the popular option is medium rare, but I don't know if that's weird or just different, but I prefer well done. I like it cooked all the way.
I prefer well done as well. Like the steak.
I don't know. I
Done.
don't like little bits of it that's like undercooked. I don't like it. If I'm gonna eat something, I want it cooked all the way. That's just personally me.
Yeah, I like well done as well. I don't like too raw about the
Exactly.
eating.
Yeah.
It's not good for me.
No.
I don't know, is that maybe the Western people like you guys like a lot of the rare, but I to the Chinese.
Yeah, no.
Except sashimi would be fine in raw, that kind of fish, but I mean the other thing we need to cook well. That is what so different culture, different eating style. Should be okay. Alright, it's now ready to go then.
Yeah, green flag has been waved. We are getting to the last 15 seconds of this countdown. We've had a lovely little food talk while we have waited for the green flag to wave, and now racing ready to get back underway. We had a restart after 3 laps of action, and now hopefully we can go the other 54 laps, including an additional 3 as we restart the entirety of this 100% distance. 57 laps of action ahead of us, 308.238 kilometers in race distance, circuit length 5.412 kilometers, and a average top speed of 315.2 kilometers per hour, including DRS on that one. C1s, 2s and 3s, the hardest in the Pirelli range for the tyres, and I'm sure, like we saw before, a mixture of those C3s and C2s, obviously, due to them being the hardest in the Pirelli range, just offers a little less degradation, a bit more in that tyre temp window. They can go a bit longer. I saw another driver or two currently on those C1s, which could obviously shout the point that they would want to go a little longer on their tyres, and big disadvantage would be C1s would take forever to get up to temperature. It's another thing I've seemed to notice, is that temperature does seem to take a while before you get into that, exact window that you would need to get the maximum out of the grip. So, with that being said, ready to go racing again. majority would be looking for the soft, hard, soft to hard, soft, soft strategy. Mixtures of things may be played out here. We've got a long one ahead of us, Jenneth. 57 laps of action all over again.
Yeah, it's indeed. I tell you what, if you guys listen to me, don't put hard on this track. It's too terrible.
Yeah.
Around the corner, low grip at all, but it's lasting longest, of course. But every single lap, you lose 1 second.
Well, anyone who's going to be on the hards probably going to do a hard, soft, soft, and anyone that's on the softs is probably going to go on the hards for the second stint to go longer on, because obviously it's 57 laps, so they need a tyre that can go for a long period of time, so then they can stretch it out to do a much, more grippy tyre near towards the end and make up any time they would have lost out in that second stint. But it's looking like it's a two-stop race for each strategy that is available at the moment. K5 seems to need an invite. Buster, I physically can't invite someone at the moment. So, Jenneth, if you want to do me a favour and invite them when you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him, but he didn't accept my friends at the platform. So I sent all of them about the friends request. But I can't see him here, but I try to...
Well, everyone, if you're listening, please friend Jenneth back. He's trying to be your friend. He's trying to invite you back in. What is this? Anyway, with that being said, we are once again, for the second time running, moments away from lights out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we go again. The lights go out and it's Pelter medal for the second time running here in Bahrain. More wheel spin once again for the Aston Martin. And all of a sudden, Williams in the background, gone into the barrier. Fins has caused a huge collision. 3-in-1 VSC deployed. And I can only assume safety car will join soon after. Haas back up into P1 immediately. VSC deployed. And that is Farmer Sam, checkered flag, and Fins in a three-way collision. You could see in the background the Williams got way too much throttle down, caused himself out, and safety car has been deployed. You can see the yellow circle in the background there, the GT Black Series to back up the rest of the cars. And in a single lap of action, not even a single quarter of lap of action, the safety car has been deployed. Apollo Pepsi falls down to P8, Ferrari in P7, Frosty Oz back up to P1, and Aston Martin, for the second time running, does not get the getaway. That was needed. And looks like Dark and Shadows in P4 as well. V-Carb following a little closer now, and that is very disappointing in the favour of the Williams. That's now 2 races in a row. A mistake has been made for the British constructor. Fins at the Silverstone Grand Prix on the final lap of racing went into the gravel trap out of the exit and going onto the hangar straight, and that caused them to lose out on a podium opportunity and finished in P6. This time in Bahrain, Fins finishes dead last on the first lap of racing, and it's a long race ahead. You could have just conserved your throttle, really played it a bit easier on there, but unfortunately, that's all we see. Unfortunately, we won't get a replay this time round, but I'm sure someone will clip it, because we did see that V-Carb swing across to the other side of the circuit before we switched onto an onboard view of the Haas. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But big collision has brought out the safety car, and we are under much stricter conditions. There's a few more drivers who may have picked up penalties that would have caused them a lot of time loss are now coming in to serve that, and also for a switch of tyres. It's going to be interesting. They're most likely going to switch over to those hards, which will be at the disadvantage of them, because they're putting them on just probably a little bit too early at the moment. But it does now mean, especially if there is a safety car on the first lap, for example, or damage on the first lap, let's say you were on the hards box, for that plan B option, so you'd now go for the softs, and if you were, for example, on the softs, then you'd switch onto hard compound tires. So you're really starting to see a few, switching options here, a few more people going on to the mediums as well, but clearly has started to slow down here. Strategy options have needed to come into place here. Everyone's need to slow down, follow Delta before eventually following behind the Mercedes. Jenneth, what an incredibly crazy start we got there.
Yeah, I feel I found 5 cars in the pit lane, including our 2 teammates in the current, and then they're going to have some collisions. And actually, we have 3 drivers DNF in the first lap, not even the first lap, the first straight, first corner, and there will be a big problem, and some car plus T.
Red flag, red
It's
flag,
DNF,
red flag, red flag.
again.
Red flag
Yeah,
again.
red flag again.
Yep.
Red flag again, yeah.
And I caught it the first time this time. I didn't have to be reminded multiple times. But yeah, red flag has been deployed. Multiple people starting to retire. Red flag has been deployed for the second time round. And we've had a few bits of internet trouble come across us at the moment. I may be swinging across the idea of maybe me setting it up if it's necessary. But yeah, unfortunately, another red flag has now deployed. And it has caused another stoppage in the session, which actually I'm sure people like Finn's Dark and Shadows Checkered Flag would be loving at the moment for what did happen in their very start of the race.
Yeah, I'm putting in the general Discord chat that please add me as EA friends in case you have been kicked off by the lobby.
Well, obviously,
that will be unfortunately. I cannot see what happened about the accidents. Is because I tried to find K5 M5 back into lobby and invite him, but I saw once I read back to the screen already, and see almost 10 cars crash to each other, something like this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a specific internet issue, if it's just EA being EA. But whatever the case may be, it's another stoppage in the session. It's a second red flag that has been brought out, and it's disappointing because we've had lots of incredible moments in what has been like equal to maybe 4-5 laps of action, which is unfortunate. You know, everyone in the Twitch chat, everyone in the commentary box was expecting 57 laps of constant, consistent, incredible, entertaining action. But, you know, sometimes these things happen, and it's just about how we can overcome and get past them, so then we can have an incredible race ahead of us. However, on this case around, 2 red flags, let's just hope we don't get a third.
Don't mention about it, otherwise we cannot finish everything twice at Road Cross this evening. Maybe possible is maybe how about we invite some of the TPs to come here and maybe
yeah, so it does look like we're currently starting to organize something on that side. So is there an IRL actual like comms chat? I apologize for the blue screen, by the way. About what has unfolded so far here in Bahrain. Obviously, a lot of chaos and a lot of carnage has been the main thing, the main topic of talking, let's say. But let's hope on this occasion everyone loads into the session, because what I'm seeing in the Twitch chat, by the way, by Urban Cypher, the man, the myth, the legend himself, just saying that drivers haven't loaded in. Germon as well saying second was someone off the line, lost traction. Okay. Oh, that's separate. That's talking about the original accident. But yeah, whatever the case may be, some type of internet problem or struggle to load in. But I believe we do have someone who has decided to have a little chat with us. Devastator, welcome to the comms box. And hopefully you're happy to have a little chat with us here on the pit wheel for yourself. Obviously, we're going to be going into our third restart of the session now. McLaren, being obvious here, Websy didn't have the greatest qualifying session of all time. He's P19, he's down there for sure. How was it on your side? How has McLaren worked behind the scenes, and how are you continuing to progress? Obviously, we saw also Websy last weekend try and make their way up and picked up a win, actually, in Silverstone. So How are you as a team just tracking along at the moment?
How's it going, guys? So yeah, I'm just I'm actually on a walk right now.
Oh, well, good.
Chat anyway. But so my boys, we all know. So last week we got the race with. He has the pace to go on and get a good result. Even though he's starting right from the back. Yeah, so he will be obviously trying probably a more aggressive strategy, try and get through the field as quickly as possible and hopefully get a good point. So Shawnee on the other hand, well, typical from last season though, he's inconsistent. He'll just put in lap after laps. He will beat people based on his outright pace. He'll just try and hold people up and just do consistent lap times over and over again.
Right. I mean, obviously, having a mixture of both pace and consistency is good on your side, but obviously, you know, as a commentator, also as an interviewer, also as just like a media person in general, you know, we like to ask the serious questions here. When it came to the draft for IRL, were these selections that you were really looking for, or were, you know, let's say in the case of Shawnee, second-hand choices that just became available for you? Absolutely. Yep. Right. So I think for a lot of team principals, it didn't work in your favor, but at least for you as a McLaren team principal, it did. So you know, at least in that case, it's quite good on your side. But obviously, you mentioned it, and I've mentioned it. Websy down in P19, he's at the bottom of the barrel. Only person behind him is Marcus Costa in the Mercedes. So talk to me about how maybe he'd be approaching strategy. Does he have potentially SRC bought and purchased for him to have a strategy for himself, or is he going to just see how it will kind of progress? Obviously, 57 laps of action, so it's a long race ahead of us. How exactly does he want to kind of approach this? Because now you have, you know, Shawnee ahead, who finished behind Websy last time round. Do you think Websy has the pace to get past Shawnee, or do you think Shawnee now has the spotlight to try and hold the torch for McLaren?
Yeah, sorry, JP, I have to disturb you is because Devastator's voice is not in the streaming.
Sorry?
I think Devastator's voice is not in the streaming. It's not been streaming his voice.
Oh.
I mean the streamer.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's because the PS app.
Yeah, okay. Let me have a look real quick. Hang on. It might be a me thing, or it might be a you thing. Yeah, it would be you, because I'm thinking, like, yeah. Wow, that is weird hearing my voice, bloody hell. Yeah, allow your voice to be shared, and then connection. Stop playing my voice, it's weird.
Sorry. Oh,
Alrighty, let's try this time round now, because I am allowing everyone for their voice to be shared. So, do we want to do a quick radio check on your side so we can actually make sure that your voice is working?
Well, we hope it's working now. I haven't pressed the button, so...
No, it's just not working. Is something some technical problem. Is if you have some internet. Yeah, if in the Discord is working properly or not. Okay, so nevertheless, we can repeat what the Devastator saying about the
Hang on.
And he said he's walking around. He's a bit lousy out there, and
yeah, quick recap, because I'm on a walk right now, so I apologise for that. Got two picks I wanted. That's the thing that JP asked me. And when it comes to pace, we all know Websy has his pace, and Sean is just consistent, just do his laps over and over again. Websy, obviously, with the pace, will try to make his way through the field. But on terms of strategy, because that was the last thing I was asked, So I know before the race, both drivers were just were talking about if they weren't 100% sure what they were going to do yet.
Right.
So I had them both after me and then gave him my input, and they told me what they're going to do. And just from memory, I believe Shawnee's going to go more conservative with his strategy with tyres. But I know Webbsy will be trying to push and use as much pace as he can to try and get through that field and be on the more aggressive strategy.
I'm definitely not staring at a strategy page made by esports drivers with both conservative and pushy for a 100% Bahrain drive strategy thing. Definitely not by SRC. Never.
But yeah, so I know I'm pretty sure if Webbsy catches up to Shawnee pretty quick, Shawnee will probably let him go through.
Yeah.
Obviously, on that aggressive strategy, Shawnee, I know he did it last season as well, because they were teammates last season, which I think is also a benefit. But so I reckon Shawnee will possibly let him go through, depending on how their pace is at that time.
I'm going to ask you a question that team principals hate to be asked. Is Webbsy your number one driver?
Oh gosh.
It's the worst question to be asked, It is a really hard question to answer because obviously I love both people quite a bit, but you'd say on pace he definitely is, but it's still both of them. Like, there's no favourites. Like, if one of them's doing better, they will help each other out to help the other one out. So we have no outright number ones on it.
Oh, it's a terrible question to ask.
Green. It's going green.
You're right. It's
green.
Green flag is running, so we'll have to say goodbye to you, Devastator. Obviously, good luck to your boys tonight for the fourth time running, or was it third time running? Sorry, I'm losing count now, but yeah, we're getting to the third restart now. Obviously, strategy will be intriguing, see how they can make their way through the field, especially for Webbsy, for that matter, and can confirm that Webbsy is the only one that matters in the team. He's the number one driver, said by Devastator and no one else, so, just so we're all aware of that one. Yes, yeah, man. We're kidding. Both McLaren drivers cared about just as much as each other. It's a terrible question to ask. It really is. You put someone in a really tricky position. So
you can strictly ask him that Jennifer is a good driver in McLaren or not.
It's such a tricky question. Oh man.
Yes, it's tricky. I recap what Devastator's answer. He said that it's really hard questions to be answered. To be honest, it is quite true. And then I'm so sorry about we cannot share his voice in.
We ended up getting it to share. By the way, when he started talking the second time round, his voice was sharing, so it was all good.
Okay, alright, good.
Yeah, so everyone caught the second time round. They just didn't catch the first time round. But this time round, we're good to go. This is the third time round in terms of racing, because second time round for the interviews, but we've had 2 red flags, plenty of DNFs and plenty of problems throughout the field, both, just in general statement with the internet, but then also some drivers getting a little too quick on their throttle, causing their entire rear end to kick out. And we had a 3-way collision, bringing out 3 different DNFs, and also 5 drivers in total rather DNFing or getting damaged. So that's 2 other drivers getting damaged. So it was a bit of a mess when it came to the impact that had. So obviously not referring specifically to any drivers, but the Williams of Finns should be looking to try and get a better getaway. I'm kidding. Don't take it personally.
Alright, still waiting for the driver, isn't it? They're doing the setup things. They have to remember to do the setup, please.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the third time. The lights go out, and it's pedal to metal once again. Tyler FF once again with wheel spin, and it's once again Haas all over again. It's a big repetition. Can the American constructor send it down the inside? Wheel to wheel. He gets the opening. Aston Martin playing it on repeat, and it's still wheel to wheel this time round. But Haas gets the opening and back up into P1. Goes Frosty Oz. Chill Pill up to P3. Kick Sauber getting the opening there. Looks like V-Carb as well, fighting away with Finns, getting a much better getaway, not kicking out the rear this time round. Slight contact to the V-carb as he gets the opening going into the S's. A little bit more contact to his teammate, and Williams now going 5 and 6 in terms of positions, but not for very long, as V-carb really going into a head-to-head battle with the other constructor of Williams. It is an all-out fight in the midfield from P5 down into P7, and you can see just a little further down Shawnee in the McLaren speaking with Devastator. He'll be looking to try and make his way through the field. Webbsy up to P16 already, 3 positions off the start here in lap 1, and racing well and truly underway here in Bahrain. Haas sending it down the inside now, can't seem to get the move stuck in stone. Red Bull not too far behind in Mr. Cool Cars, doesn't seem to have the pace overall around Bahrain, but he's also shown consistency, so will that play dividends later in this race? We'll have to wait and see. Looks like Williams now 5 and 6, checkered flag and darkened in a V-carb sandwich. Not for very long though. The other Italian constructor of Ferrari looking for the impact as he goes down the inside. Farmer Sam also going into a battle with Alpine, and it's going to be a big old battle down the pit straight, and once again can Kick Sauber look for an opening. He's got the slipstream in tow against the Alpine. It now goes wheel to wheel with the V-carb, and right now Farmerson rotates through the corner, and it is still incredibly close throughout the entire field at the moment. The midfield has not been closer.
Yes, it's a 3 close race for the time being. It's because no one is running the hard compound, all soft and medium. It's likely only 4 of them is running the medium, which is Checkerpad and SFR and the P5, your Williams driver, and the P9 drivers from Red Bull. And there's some things happens is the Apollo's Pepsi in the P11. And there will be some overtaking about Aussie 2K goals taking in the Alpine, in the hairpin in the turn 10, and then got ahead and then jump up in one position as the Apollo Pepsi in the P11 and Farmer Sam's in the P12, and then they will still sticking each other in the heads in the P1s already. Firstly, he's setting a purple set is in the sector 2 in already 1.7 something second apart from Teslas in the P2 is the Aston Martin driver, and the Capel is in the P3 the Kicks driver, and Checkerpad in the RB in the 4th, and 2 Williams 5th and 6th, and Italia's constructor Mrs. Rankers in the P7, and KF5M2s in ahead to the the third lap, ahead to the first corner.
Sorry to interrupt, by the way, it's 3 wide down the pit straight, and it's going into the first corner. A colossal amount of fighting in the midfield at the moment. They can't seem to separate one another, and Kick now on the inside line against the V-carb has the opening with DRS. It is absolutely contagious, continuing to go up and down in terms of position. They can't seem to stop.
Yes, indeed, it says we can see McLaren's driver in the P12 already jumped back in a couple of positions, and in the P12 and 14, and the Hess driver, Andrew in the P15, and then his teammate is running in the P1 already in lap 3, straight ahead to there will be some change, the others change from the P1 to 3, and then down to the 4th. That's likely down to 20, they are still under another batch of the DRS train. And you could see now there will be very close battering because P1, 2, 3 they're running the soft compounds, so that's why they are already 2.3 seconds apart from Checkerpad in the P4 running the medium compound, and by 2 Williams this is medium and soft compounds as well. And you can see the main straight back again here, and I'm on board with the William SFR and Nico J, and Nico J's past his teammate soft and nicely, and then Nico J should let the teammates is Nico J and 2 double overtaking already. Nico J in the turn 1.
It's close between the 2 Williams, between the British constructors, and right now, checkered flag, just another one that needs to survive this absolute insanity that is racing. And now look at Finn's, down the inside goes the Williams against his teammate. He's holding on the middle of the line, can't seem to come back at him is Liquid Jake, and checkered flag looking for the opening on the inside line, can't seem to get it done. Meanwhile, in the background, Frosty Oz now back up into P2, well back down, sorry, into into P2 as Tyler FF finds the lead of the race. Once again, it was a chase down from what was the very beginning, and finally has managed to get it stuck back in stone. Great job from the Aston Martin as the racing between these two, Checkered Flag and Liquid Jake, continues. DRS for the both of them as they're separated by nothing at the moment. Brimstone and Ashes, welcome to Bahrain. The racing is fierce, it is fast, and it is competitive here in Intis Racing League. And another big opportunity for Checkered Flag. Can't seem to get it done, and Verk is once again on the push.
Yeah, it's very competitive racing for the time being. It's already separating to a couple of the chains, and it's the lap 4 already, as two Williams is now ahead to the P4 and 5, and they're still racing off each other. And then you can see Vince is likely drop down one positions, the Bosti and the Testa, and the Kim Prince in the P1 and 2. 3 has to the second DRS zone, and you can see the changes. Checker Fat getting inside, and Venkus is inside and outside again. Now Venkus is in the outside, is Italy's driver, which is in the 6th position, and then Checker Fat is outside in the P7, and there's some change about OCK and K5 M5, and Apollo's Pepsi is jumped back to the P8 already, and Checker Fat, and then Venkus keeps wearing side by side, is holding the position down into the corner 7, and then now 8 and into the hairpin, and Venkis is jumped to the P7 and OC2Ks, and you can see OC2K got some accidents there. OC2Ks plus K5 M5, they got some accident in the turn 8.
And K5 has now unfortunately seen himself losing in positions, as you mentioned, to Aussie 2K Goat, who may have made a mistake causing collisions between the two drivers. Now falling down to P18 goes the Mercedes. Clearly some type of front wing damage has occurred there. No safety car or VSC has been deployed. A lack of debris to do so. The stewards and marshals clearly happy with how the track condition is currently set down. More grip being laid out here on the tarmac at the Bahrain Grand Prix, here at the Sakir Grand Prix, and right now really starting to settle into a pace at the moment. Lap 6 of 57, Tyler FF in the Aston Martin, sending it back down the inside, and now we really have a battle for the lead of this race at the moment. Chillpill is also starting to join in on the action at the moment. Kick Sauber really starting to close in on the gap at the moment, and Frosty Oz continuing this fight, using the DRS on the second straight back at him. It's Leclerc and Verstappen at Bahrain in 2022 all over again. It is a Ferrari-powered engine, Mercedes-powered engine. It is Aston Martin and Haas at absolute breaking point as they continue around this circuit at Sakir.
Yeah, they already won P1, 2, 3 already stay apart from the P4 for 4 seconds, and they all running the soft compound and one wise for the first T and the P1, and there will be a warning. Probably he's running all the cars out of the track, which is the white light chat limit, and then he's now ahead to the corner 11s, and then going up hills, and then finish the last sectors, and just counts. You can see the Capri is now joining the battles in the P3, and he's saving his CRS very properly, and is down into the sector 3, and you can see there will be some battle between Frosty and Tesla. Is the coming first corner, and I believe there will be some battles between P1 and P2, and the DRS is enabled for the lap 2 already, and then Tesla is now taking overtake and go into the turn 1, and he takes the leading position, and Frosty in the P2, and there will be some movement at the back of the script, which is Apollo Pepsi jumped into P5, and it could J down to the P6, and with the RB driver Checker Fat in the P7, and you could see now there will be a big battle in the midfield, and there will be Websy is already jumped from P20 to P10. Farmers is taking the position. Checker Fast is swapped the position between Liquid J and Checker Fast 1Y, and Sam got the first penalty, 3 seconds, multiple warnings for the chat limit.
Yeah, absolutely. More track limits being brought out and penalties as well. Apologies for interrupting. A big lock on the rear there for the V-Carb in P6, and everyone really starting to settle down into a zone. One man that is refusing to do exactly that, obviously in a big DRS train at the moment, but he has the pace on his side. Your race winner at the Silverstone Grand Prix, Websy, up to P10, past his teammate, and now he can just focus on the drivers ahead. No other teammate to get past. It looks like Farmer Sam and Liquid Jake continuing a wheel-to-wheel battle as they make their way out of the exit of turn 13, and right now continuing wheel-to-wheel 2 abreast, and as they approach into the curb, it is moving under braking, you could argue, for the Williams there. However, whatever the case may be, Frosty Oz continuing this battle for P1 as once again the Haas switches in position. Whatever the case may be, Farmer Sam will now be in P8 looking for an opening against these two, and the kick Sauber sending it down the inside. Liquid Jake goes up to P6 because of it. Farmer Sam on the outside line gets the rotation through, gets the throttle down to follow in pursuit, and up to P7 goes the kick Sauber, now in close pursuit of Liquid Jake, who's 3.5 tenths up the road. But look at McLaren of Websy, that was close to a Stroll Fernando-esque move, didn't end up happening, but back down to P10.
Gosh.
Oh, that was a big collision, very solidly hard into the barrier goes Websy's teammate and Shawnee, the first one to retire on the third restart here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. McLaren into the barrier, and safety car has been deployed. That was a very harsh collision.
He has been tapped by some of the driver. I can see it on my screen, and unfortunately, it's that McLaren is DNF in the Tier 1 again. I think there's a lot of reckless side, and the safety car has been deployed, as you said. And see what's going on, and we can see the position change for the time being, and you could see Apollo Pepsi, he can 9 position, same as the Websy, McLaren's driver in the P10 from 19 to P10, and the biggest scan, which is the live position that I just mentioned, and then Farmer Sam, he jumped from P12 to P7, and you can see P1, 2, 3 is now on the pit.
Yeah,
and
this is not shocking me. This is not shocking me in any way, shape or form. Everyone on the soft compound tyres, even some on the mediums as well, coming into the pit lane. They clearly want to switch in tyres. They're not happy with how their tyres are feeling anymore. They'd be overheating, maybe just starting to lose the edge of what they had originally. They are the C3 softs. They're the most balanced tyre in the entirety of the Pirelli range. Mercedes doing a double stop there, it seems. Red Bull maybe doing the same, as everyone seemingly diving into the pit lane, apart from what is, I mean, actually not even the top two. Frosty stays out in P2 because of the deficit that was made between P3. So Frosty has come in. Finn stays out on his 8-lap-old medium. So does GLX Cam. And so Frosty has just been able to get away with that. And so the Haas will stay in P2 for the time being. 3.5 off as he continues to cut that down, and that's going to be absolutely beneficial in his race as he continues to push his way up into a potential race win for Frosty. And another big name, Websy, back down to P13, and anyone that was on those soft compound tyres, it was more than likely that they were going to switch to the hard compound tyres, the C1s this evening. Obviously, the C2s had a good opportunity of being chosen because they had good tyre deg and distance, but obviously those hards, they struggle for pace. You know, their tyre temps, they struggle to get into the correct window. The degradation is high, but they endure. They last a lifetime, and those C1s, they get used very, very often at very certain circuits, and at Bahrain it's one of them, and it has been chosen, and it is going to be used, so it's going to be those softs on the hards all the way to maybe lap, if I were to predict, maybe I'd like to say lap 21 to lap 30 would be the rough distance that you would see. You know, seeing that we've had to compromise for a safety car as well. Anywhere between like 21 to 30 because of that safety car being brought out. It's been extended by quite a large margin. Whatever the case may be, the train has been starting to form here as everyone starts to line up behind the Mercedes GT Black Series Safety Car Edition. And everyone just starting to get a better idea on what their tyres feel like, because apart from 2 drivers, everyone's on a new set of tyres, Jenneth.
Yes, indeed. It's, we can just recap that with Vince and in the P1, Williams drivers, they still running this old medium since the lap 1 to lap 10 now, and GLX in the P3, provisional P3, is running the medium tire, and they have not been changing his tire yet, no stop, and most of them is changed from the soft compounds, medium compounds to hard compounds already. And the mediums this time here can run around 30 something lap, but however the wearing is around 70%. One of the drivers yesterday did that kind of the long stint and see what's going on, and now they already pack it up. Yeah, 37 laps something.
So we've had a little message been sent through by a person we were interviewing earlier on the pit wall. He was just doing a quick walk to the garage, and that was, of course, Devastator in the McLaren team principal position. Obviously, just commenting on Shawnee, who has retired from the session. Big collision that occurred, which seemed to be caused by Mertz, which I neither can deny nor confirm, so we'll have to wait and see if that was the case of him. But whatever the case may be, talking about what he was just mentioning, it seemed to be, it isn't Mertz, my bad, apologies, but it does seem, from what he had commented on, simply put it, I have seen the footage and have come to the conclusion, if I speak, I am in big trouble. So, I don't think he's very happy with whoever hit his teammate, I'll be honest, or at least hit one of his drivers. Just gives me an idea that might be the case.
Yeah, I saw that video from the team to score. That is not like a lagging issues.
Someone said Mertz earlier, and I was a little confused because after I said Mertz, I started contemplating what I was saying, because I'm going through the names and I'm thinking, well, has one of them changed their names? And I'm like, I don't think this is Mertz. And then someone said, oh, it's not Mertz. And I'm like, well, why did someone shout out Mertz earlier? You silly billies. Anyway, safety car's been deployed, lap 11 of 57. And this is why we don't have Twitch chat open, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we normally shut it down. But, long race, thought we'd have it open.
Yeah, I just invite back Aussie 2K goes back to the lobby, and then he already disconnected again, and hope he can get my invitation.
Well, Jenneth, in a situation like this, let's say there's a safety car being deployed on lap 9 and lap 11, normally this would be where it starts to come in, but we'll have to wait and see how that happens. Well, I mean, what kind of goes through your mind on the safety car conditions? Is it just kind of resetting, getting yourself back into the mindset of like, okay, we're going to be racing soon. I need to be prepared on, when a driver in front needs to go, I need to make sure there's like a solid, gap in between so I don't, cause a collision. I mean, are you more cautious under safety car conditions than you are when you're actually racing?
Oh yes, it's so difficult to manage about the distance, how you can stay apart from the cars in front of you, and then we have to make it very carefully when you're driving. You realize that there will be some braking in front of you, and then when you start, you have to really concentrate how the first car kickstart. Okay, we allow resume the racing, which is being controlled. The speed is just actually. For the new game 2024, the tire is really cooled down during the lap. I believe that it will 60 degrees something about his tire for the time, and then it goes already. Fins is start yet? No, they still on the rubbering about the tire, and then Fins is now gone.
Flat to the floor, Peltometer with his green flag all over again. Chillpill falls down multiple positions, down to P8 as there is a big squabble in the midfield at the moment, wheel to wheel. It's 5 wide down the pitch straight as we come into the first corner. Slight contact being made, someone's pushed wide. That's the Aston Martin of Tyler FF, and he's fallen down to P7 from his original position. Frosty goes up to P1. T1, and it has gone well and truly wrong in the favour of the British constructor as he continues to rotate through. He did come into the pit lane, however, already down a few positions from where he was earlier, but he is now down even more. Looks like Kick Sauber, P7 and 8, and the green and black car is pushing through the field. It is carnage and chaos as we continue here on safety car restart, lap 12 of 57, and my God, this is simply incredible to watch. Look at Chill Pill down the inside, a little bit too close for comfort. End plate missing for Farmer Sam. Chill Pill a little further down now, and he's going to have to try and follow in close pursuit to see if he can regain that position. Can't seem to get it done. Downshifts early to avoid any type of contact made with his teammate. Kick really need to think about how they want to sort out their positions. Their team principal would be kicking himself at the moment. So close to contact. So close to an end of a race and continuing to fight away. Inside line, Aussie 2K Goat rejoining the session. So now he'll continue his race down in P15. Down the inside goes Chill Pill as he makes another position upwards. Kick Sauber are in an absolute warfare at the moment, and Websy wants a piece of it. Going up to P9 all over again. Repetition at its finest. Can the British constructor, the team, all the way and walking, get the move done? No, he can't. Gets the rotation through. It's still two abreast, but he has the curb. He has the exit. Flat to the floor, pedal to the metal, and Bahrain allows him the opportunity back up to P9.
Yes, as you can see, the soft compound is very powerful in here, and the Liquid J is already jumped into the preview with his soft compounds, which is new, and Frosty in the P1 medium compound for 4 laps, which is they already signed up, and then Websy in the P8 already get past another Farmer Sam jumped to the P8. Unfortunately, his teammates already DNF in this track, and we still have a hot discussion behind the story, and then they are still working on what happens about the McLaren, and then we back into the race, and Apollo's Pepsi, and already in the P5, he has been already changing the position for 9 position, and GRX is come from P18 to P4 for the time being, and Maps is from P19 to P8, and it's down to the lap 13, and we only have a quarter of the race to be going, and will be a long story for us today, and we are seeing that will be in the midfield. You can see that the Kick Pills is the Ferrari GX is running apart from the RB Checker Fat, and Checker Fat take the position at the outside, and then now inside into the Red Bull, and then Apollo's Pepsi jump up one more position in the P4. And you can see Fancy is start holding the position in the P3. That will be P1, 2, 3, 3 seconds apart from the position P4 Apollo Pepsi already.
And right now, as we continue through onto the S's of 5, 6, 7, and then down the hill all the way to 8, it continues fast, close, and competitive through the entirety of the field at the moment. And right now, it just seems to be settling down a touch, except not. Right now, you can see V-Carb down to P13, fighting away with the Alpine, a K5, M5. And we did see earlier on that K5 did have an incident. Doesn't happen on this occasion, and the yellow flag deployed for Aussie 2K going in the Mercedes. Where has that occurred? Doesn't seem like it's a crash on circuit. Looks like he's retired on circuit, and I'm looking to see which runoff he's gone off to at the very exit of turn 8. It just seems to be at the marshal's post as the camera is pointed to right now. Mercedes leaves the circuit. Looks like it's back to green flag running. No worries for any type of safety car or VSC. So the fighting and the warfare continues to unfold here at the Sakir Grand Prix. Intis Racing League refuses to settle down. It's Bahrain at its absolute finest. It continues to show why it is on a global scale. It continues to show why racing, it is absolutely pristine and prestigious. And down the inside goes the McLaren and Kick. Bit of a push and a bit of a spin right down the wide side. But as he continues back up towards into the exit of the corner, flat to the floor, pedal to the metal. Both have DRS, but is it McLaren with the inside line locking his front tyre, gets the rotation through. Kick and McLaren do not want to separate for a second, and Chill Pill goes back up into P6, and a yellow flag deployed as well. What's happened over there? Aston Martin running it wide, and Ghost Rider down to P16, unfortunately falling away from him, and it also looks like Aiden Rizzaman's just making a slight mistake, not big enough for anything to be deployed, but big gaps near the very end of the field.
Yeah, his safety is already stay apart from 3 seconds for Liquid J in the P2, and then the two Williams drive in P2 and 3-3, and there was still some battle. Is the Apollo Pepsi in the P5. He's stuck in the middle of Checker Fat and also Kim Peel, and then Pepsi is in the P7. He's keeping his position, chasing using his hard compounds to throw skip pills in the P6 and see whether he can do some movement in the main straight, and then you can see McCarthy Costa in the P12 that's overtake the shadow, and then there will be a diving bomb. Sorry about that one, I could see it, and then you can see GLX is get passed by the Pharma Sam, and there will be a lot of position. There's 2Y in the corner 1. And see what's going on. There will be likely low accident. It's too far in the inside, and you can see Farmer Sam is outside, get the position P8 again, and kept furious into they swap the position in the P4 and 5, and Apollo in the P6, and then we back to the normal situations. Is Apollo Pepsi getting really close to the Capils, and then Pepsi in the P7, and they all running the hard compass for 7 laps already, and you can see now what's going on. These two Williams staying in a very good position. They saving the ERS properly, and you would like to have a look about what's the position changing.
Whatever the case may be, the action has been intense. It has been on fire. Every single driver setting a lap alight like there is no tomorrow at the moment. The midfield has been competitive from start to finish, and Ferrari lining up a move, potentially going into turn 13. He had to back out of it, and Ferrari still in P9, lining up a move against the Kick Sauber. He looks for it on the inside line, will swerve past him, doesn't even need to worry about braking. He has the pace, and he had it on his side all along. Verk up to P8, no problems, but now Sauber has the DRS. Will this work in his favor, or will it become 3 wide all over again? Both of them have the DRS, both of them have the slipstream in tow, both of them going down the inside, but one of them stuck to the outside, keeping him blocked out or potentially fighting away. Alpine, K5 fighting for his dear life-like contact to the front and rear tires. Alpine just right there. Here comes Kick Sauber though, can't seem to get an opening, sandwiched in on the inside and outside, has to stay in at P10, nearly lost the rear end, lost an end plate though. Darkened shadows in the V-carb, bringing himself closer towards the S's, and now continuing back downhill. It is Kick Sauber back on the defense as he can't seem to bring himself back close to K5, and Verk with a fantastic defense who can't seem to give up position if his life counted on it. Right now Apollo Pepsi leading a bit of a train, the Red Bull in P6, Chill Pill as well, 5-10 separating it, and really just looking like they're on the top of their game here in Tier 1. We bring you the action, we give you the excitement, we give you the entertainment, and we sure as hell give you the racing that we all plenty much deserve.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Farmer Sam's lost his right hand plane, see whether he comes to the pit for the coming lap. And I believe that will be a very wise choice for him to come in, and Shadow will take his position in the P10. And you can see Farmer, whether he come into the pit. Likely, yes, he did it. He jumped into the pit to change his front wing. Sorry, unfortunately, there will be great battles in the turn 4. I think it's just the Farmers together with K5 M5 in the turn 1, start from turn 1 last lap. We have a look about Websy in P7 chasing Apollo Pepsi together Capcom in the P5 and 6 and 7, and you can see check the fact just in front of them is not far away from them, it's only 0.8 seconds, and then there was some movement about Websy in the Haas drivers and into the P15 of course, and Websy taking Apollo Pepsi in the P6, and Websy stick outside in the hairpin. And he make the job done already, and there will be some DRSs all the way down from the P5, 6, 7, and there will be still some battering in the midfield. Very likely that 5 seconds from Popsy in the P1 is just going to finish his lap 18, and Liquid J in the P2 is running his soft compounds for 9 laps, and Vincent Williams for P3. For the time being, there will be another battle in the midfield as what I'm mentioning in the P4 and P5 and P6, 7. There will be K5, M5 in the soft compound getting closest to Ferrari driver ahead to the last corners of lap 18. Just going ahead to the lap 19, and the DRS is enabled for the Alpine driver simulator. You can see have the Websy try to make the job done to the Kicks driver, but he can't do it in here, and then he have to waiting for another opportunity. And there will be some movement about Ghost Riders in the P13 and GRX, and P13 will be the Aston Martin. GRX is down to one more position to P14, and you can see Costa in the P10. Mercedes just overtake Shadow, and they swap the position a couple of times of the last few laps already.
Well, there's a man in the background who has really started to make up position after position, and we're only on lap 19. We're not even at 50% distance yet, Jenneth. It has been exciting and entertaining, but the racing has been long and hard for every single one of these drivers. Websy is up to P6, down from P19, 13 positions gained in 19 laps. He could genuinely get up into P1 with only 29 laps completed. He would have been able to do it in a normal race weekend. Look for it on the inside line. Websy can't seem to get it done. And McLaren, they're looking for it. They're lining it up and they want it just as much as the next driver. Frosty Oz 5.3 seconds out, and you can see someone's gone spinning around, yellow flag deployed, and that does seem to be the Aston Martin, a Ghost Rider, but he's got back around. Let's go back to Websy. P6 becomes P5. Solid move, gliding past, using the DRS, but is he about to make it 2-1? It is! Down the inside goes the team from Woking. McLaren looked for it. He considered DRS. He considered the aerodynamic advantage he would get by the end of this, and McLaren with DRS open, he's a little bit too far behind though, and Websy just has to fold in, continuing to look for another move potentially on the cards here. Lap 20 of 57, another 37 laps for him to get another 4 positions completed. Please, this is easy for him at the moment. The man is on a mission, and the man is getting it done right now, just following in close pursuit to Chill Pill, but just can't seem to get an opening. First big one just happens to be out of the exit of turn 10. The tricky braking opens up for a good opportunity, but can he use that DRS to potentially send it down the inside? No. Stays right behind him, pocketing a move for later, clearly, but now the best opportunity would be going down into turn 1, out of the exit of the pit straight. Don't waste your time making a move, going into the final couple of corners at turn 14 and 15. Wait, take your time, give it a moment, and then send it all the way down into the first hairpin of turn 1. Not even a corner. Absolute mentality of the McLaren driver has been something magical, something that we have never seen before. The mentality to keep pushing, keep trying, keep giving it his all. Inside line, Websy up into P4. Scratch that about making what, P19 to P5. He doesn't need to worry about 14 positions. Let's make it 15. Absolutely incredible. He doesn't know when to stop. He doesn't have an off button. He just knows how to get quicker and quicker lap after lap. He's on, what, 12 lap old hard compound tires. He's pushing like no one else on that circuit.
Yeah, it's already 5 ways. It's already hard compounds and then keep pills. is making a 0.6 seconds apart from him already. He's likely using his hard compounds try to chase up to William. And P3 man, remember that Finn in the P3, he has not come into pit yet, and also GRX comes in the P14, and the McLaren's amazing drivers that we've seen in the tier 1s that this season, and then he already won the Silverstone's Grand Prix last weekend in Intel Racing in season 7.
That's true. That's true, but I'll interrupt you because you're right. Yes, you're right. Websy on 12-lap-old hard compound tyres compared to Finn's, who is yet to come into the pit lane on 20-lap-old mediums. I get that. And by the time he comes into the pit lane, he'll be behind a few cars, but he'd have fresher tyres, so he can get past them quite quickly and get back up into his position. And up into P2 does go Finn's, even with the older tyres. Clearly still has the advantage. Clearly his tyres still in the correct tyre temp window. And up to P2 with no problems really at that point. Websy still in P4, tracking along ahead of Chilpo at the moment. The Kicksauber will get DRS, but not close enough, not by nearly enough at the moment. But like I said, the point I'm making, yes, you're right, Finn's, he will have fresher tyres coming out of the pit lane. But here's the problem. Once other drivers, let's say Websy for example, on 13-lap-old hard compound tyres, once they come into the pit lane, obviously at that point Finn's has already come into the pits. So now this big reversal happens. Instead of Finn's having fresher tyres, Websy and Liquid Jake and Chilpill, and the list goes on and on and on, have fresher tyres than what Finn's has. So actually it's going to be Finn's by the end of this race who's on a bigger disadvantage than whatever he would have set as his strategy.
Yeah, indeed, is talking about the P1 as well, Frosty, and he stay apart from everybody for 6 seconds. I don't believe that he is so quick in the tier 1 here. And then instead Websy is running his 13 laps. I would like to mention about Liquid J using his soft compound. What's that? Sorry,
Websy just running wide.
Okay, and then okay, understood. And Liquid J is using his soft compound is already likely getting old for that wearing, and then he tried to overtake his teammate Beans once again in the turn 1, lap 23, and he returned back to the position P2. And so Websy is the P13 slowed down the gap to 3 seconds to 4 seconds for last lap. He's still working really hard by chasing by Kip Peel, and also check the fact in the P6, and also Apple Pepsi in the P7, and Kip Peel's already make the job done to Websy, change to position in P4, and that green car is look really quick in here, and then Websy using his hard compound and try to follow him again, and then the DRS is so powerful in this track, and you can see Websy try to take the outside, see whether he can make the job done in the P turn 10 in here. Oh, it's touched by the checker at his back, and Pepsi is now chasing the P7, and they still on the same DRS train, and then we'll see lots of the battle in the coming few laps, and he is now 23 laps. Is 40% of this track has been done so far.
Chilpill in P4, great defense by him. It did look like Websy was really opening an opportunity out of the exit of turn 10, took the outside line, broke a little bit too late, locked up his front right tyre, and just couldn't seem to make the move stick out of the exit onto the back straight. However, has another big opportunity with DRS, and this is the move up into P4. No longer will it be what it was previously, and you can see Finn's coming into the pit lane. This is what you were talking about previously. Websy looking for the inside line, sends it down the inside, and goes up into the podium positions from P19. Absolute push and a mammoth of a drive from Websy. But this is where strategy starts to come into the mix all over again. Finn's on the soft compound tyres. He did 23 laps before eventually on the 24th coming in at the moment. This is the question that we now need to answer. Once people like Websy and Liquid Jake come into the pit lane, Chilpill, Checkered Flag, Apollo, Pepsi, K5, the list goes on and on and on. The amount of drivers who are all on the similar age attire, the compound is the difference. So, considering people who are on the hards and the mediums and the softs, Obviously, they're all going to box in certain differences in terms of time. But here is where it matters. When will Websy come in? Because he seems to be one of the quickest drivers on the circuit at the moment. You're right, yellow in the second sector. Someone stopped on circuit, and it was GTE. Cali seems to be going again, P13. Lucky number 13. If you know my username, you know why. But continuing out of the exit of turn 10, and doesn't seem to have too much more than just a penalty to his name, unfortunately. But it isn't just Websy, of course. There are other drivers surrounding him, but he does seem to have the pace on his side. It's why I like to highlight it. But considering when other people are coming into the pit lane, when he comes in and having a fresh set of tyres on him, doesn't he just have advantages in his favour compared to a few others who may struggle for grip on a new set of tyres? As checkered flag, the next driver on 15 lap old hard compound tyres. That's relatively early for what you would want to do. A lot of these drivers are kind of pushing for a 3-stop at this point. I mean, considering it's only lap 25 of 57, you have another 25 laps, and then on top of that, you still have another 7 laps after the fact. I can almost guarantee there was going to be a 3-stop for some of these drivers.
Foxy got penalty.
Oh, for speeding in the pit lane. Was that JTE Kali?
So it's a Foxy got 3 seconds, long time ago.
Just
P1.
Oh, Frosty, of course. You can see the penalty against the Haas's name. 3 seconds to him is also a disadvantage. Right now, if this was the final lap of racing, Frosty would still win it. But on 16 laps old medium compound tyres, will that still play out near the end? We'll have to wait and see how strategy plays out. Obviously, it's going to kind of work in correlation with one another. The hard should be boxing the latest. That's clearly not what Kali wanted to do, or checkered flag on the soft compound tyres. But for others, that's probably the push they want to do. Go as late as and as long as they possibly can on those tyres. Maximize their stint. Make sure they can get everything out of them. Then, at the very latest lap they possibly can, to make sure the next stint they go on, the next tyre they go on, the mediums or the softs, it's even more competitive, it's faster, it has more grip, and they aren't doing too many laps. So then by the time they reach the time they need to come to the pit lane, it gives them a perfect final stint.
Liquid J in the pit is trying to change his soft to the medium compounds once again in the lap 26. And that will be, he can run this tyre up to the end. I believe that the medium can lasting for 30 laps. You reckon is last time, yesterday, what we haven't seen here in Bahrain, the tier 2. 30 laps is fine enough. There will be another driver, should be Shadow in the pits once again. He changed to soft strategy. That will be likely Websy in the P2 already. He's jumped up how many positions? The 19 position. From him to P19, 70 position from P19 to P2, and then it's keep Pill in the P2, and there will be some battle between Check Effect and Ghost Runners in the P10 and P11. Sorry about that bit. And you can see the Mercedes, the Aston Martin and the RB drivers side by side in the turn 4 now, turn 6 now, and 7 down to the P10 8. And into they are still side by side each other. No, really that already Check Effect take the position P10, and Check Effect is still running here.
Tyler
yeah,
FF, and what a name to bring up, Tyler FF in the Aston Martin, a man who started on pole position, fighting currently for P13. He's 12 positions lower than where he was previously. Right now 13 as he continues his fight with the Red Bull of Mr. Cool Cars up the hill, out of the exit of turn 12 as well. K5 coming into the pit lane on 17 lap old soft compound tyres. Those C3s have served them well, clearly. But, I mean, for someone like the Aston Martin, it's fallen away from him. He got a bad start, got way too much wheel spin, applied the throttle way too early. He was lucky not to lose the rear end of the car due to wheel spin, and due to that, being taken place, he lost out to P2, then it became P3, P4, P5, and it kept losing out time, and it was because of that pit stop and the switch in tyres he was clearly uncomfortable with, and it's caused himself to end up losing too many positions that we can no longer count at this point. Down to P13 goes the Aston Martin, continuing this fight away with the Red Bull Mr. Cool cars two abreast as they continue up towards the top of the hill. Slight elevation changes as they go into turn 4, but as they reach the exit of the corner, can Aston Martin stick the moving stone? It's still wheel to wheel as we go into the S's, and Aston Martin, does he get the opening he's looking for? No, he can't. Has to stay where he is for the time being. But going out of the exit of turn 8, there's a real big opportunity with DRS through into the exit of turn 10. We'll have to wait and see how that comes about, as Red Bull seemingly trying to use as much of the track as possible to open up the exit of turn 10. It's a really tricky corner, one of the trickiest to try and get right around Bahrain and at the Sakir Grand Prix because of how harsh the braking is. Looks like Liquid Jake in P9 starting to come right back at him. And right now you can see V-Carb defending well against Liquid Jake, but the Williams has seemed to be quite aggressive when it comes to attacking, so will he get the opportunity? That will come at a later date.
Yes, when he in the P4, just overtaking Pepsi, Apollo Pepsi once again in the turn 1. Then Liquid Jake is in the P8 in the main straight. He took the position P8 just past Check the Fat, and jump into the P8, and then P9 is still defending about this. Another DRS shown in here, and check out Svet and Liquid J, they swap position in the single 2 corners only, and there will be something like the checker Fat is using his soft compound against with Liquid J's medium compound for only a very fresh one, and down into the corner 7, the hairpin at the turn right. And there will be the battle likely will be here. There's some Tefra is all past Mr. Cool car. There will be 4 cars is messy here in the turn 7 once again, and down into the turn 8 the hairpin. Into there will 4 cars side by side, 4 cars still side by side with the hairpin at the left ender down to the second DRS. So the 4 cars still around the corner. And then Red Bull's taking the Mr. Cool car, and the Tefra in the P14, and Adrian in the P15, and Shadow in the P15, and the Hess driver taking the inside up to the hill, and the Red Bull spin.
Oh, Red Bull has gone spinning. Mr. Cool Cars just missing out on that barrier by a few inches, has managed to keep it on circuit and away from potential retirement. 2 drivers down, no more to come, at least for the time being. Red Bull 12.2 seconds down on his time currently. Liquid Jake goes up to P8, going into the first corner, and that allows Checkered Flag down into P9. Looks like also K5 ahead of Ghost Rider as he comes into the pit lane, and it was spoken about in the Twitch chat very quietly, very closely, a little dark horse in P2. Websy is cutting down time. It isn't by a significant margin. They're both on 20 lap old hard compound, on 20 lap old compound tires. One's on the mediums, one's on the hards. So Websy would still be feeling, pretty comfortable at that range. His tires are degrading, they're getting worse and worse, but at least it's staying in a right comfort zone, you could say. It's not exactly performing at a point he'd be happy with, but it's not exactly off yet either. Those C1s working well for him. We'll have to wait and see how the McLaren continues to trail along now down to 9.5 from that 9.8 we saw momentarily ago, which is now 9.4. So McLaren is really cutting down time at the moment. It's just how quickly he can get it done. If he can get it done before the next round of pit stops, that's an incredible stint and an incredible amount of pace by the British constructor.
Yeah, just some information from the pit lane is Mr. Cool car just changing his hard compounds once again, and then also the front wing, because the last incident happened in the lap 20 line. He have been end up to damage his left end frame of his front wing. And exactly that what we back to the battle in the Ferrari. How about in the Pepsi Ferrari checker fat, and that kind of the battle scene here.
Do you want to try and? Oh wait, never mind. 2K's retired, never mind.
Sorry?
Oh, because Ozzy left the session, but he retired, never mind. Either way, looks like Williams of Liquid J continuing wheel-to-wheel with the Mercedes. A good fight between P8 and P10. Please, continue.
Yeah, and that will be the battle still in between is that couple of drivers in here in the P8 and P9 and P10. There will be Coasty, Checkerback, and Soft Compound, and Liquid J, and also Costa in the Mercedes is running ahead to the corner 10 into the second DRS zone, ahead to the DRS, see whether who get the advantage here, and then Liquid J try to open his DRS, and then getting none of the advantages, getting not close enough in here. And will be the battle thing for the time being, and will be 13 laps to go. We likely finish half of the race, more than half of the race, 50% of the race already, and still have a long ways to go. And you can see Frosty already 9 seconds apart from Websy into the medium, 22 laps in the hard compounds in P1 and P2. And there will be separate a lot. You can see Apollo Pepsi has been get passed by Rankins, the Italian constructors in the turn 1.
And Ferrari and Red Bull continuing this push upwards as well. Apologies for the interruption. And just P6 and P5 continuing to switch out at the moment. They are close in terms of lap times and their gap, of course. The main thing that is bringing the attention towards them, obviously, as you mentioned, Verk, defending well, and also getting that move done through onto the pit straight. So in P5 is where Verk now sits in the Ferrari. I believe one of them sitting in for what was Dodge, who actually scored, I believe it was P2 on the board, the Ferrari of Meowsy. That also may have been P4, just outside of that podium position range that I may be thinking of at Silverstone. It's been a fantastic race so far. It's been a long one, of course, and just really starting to settle down into a bit more of a longer one, because this is where the long stint comes in. This is where we saw majority of the people coming onto the hard compound tyres. I see Ghost Rider, Aiden and Mr. Cool Cars have all boxed quite recently in comparison to a few others. Same for K5 and a few others on the mediums and softs. But right now, for anyone really out near the front of the field, they want to extend their gap as much as possible. They want to extend their stint as much as possible, because it means they get the better tyre near the end of the race. And wheel to wheel between Fins and Chillpill. This is for the podium positions. Can P3 go in the favour of the Williams? Well, yeah, no doubt in anyone's mind. 8-lap-old soft compound tyres, extremely better in terms of their condition compared to what Chillpill has to drive with on 23-lap-old medium compound tyres. They'd be begging in pain. Same for Frosty's mediums, 9.3 seconds. Websy hasn't been cutting down that time as quickly as maybe some would have presumed, and it means that McLaren well and truly staying inside that 9-second deficit. Time is still coming down, but like I mentioned, not as fast as they were probably presuming it to do.
Yeah, they swapped the position again in the P6 and P5, Wankies and Apollo's Pepsi. They already swapped into positions, couple of laps already, likely maybe 10 laps. They keep doing each other, something like this. And then exactly, we're back to the P2 and 3, and you can see Frosty is already 9 seconds pull apart from Websy in the P2, and McLaren driver doing really good jobs in here. This McLaren driver, and then Fancy, and then still have some battering about. Fancy's already have a very good soft compounds flash one, 8 laps only, and then he take the P3, the podium position for the time being. However, there will be only 25 laps to go to finish this race in Racing Season 7 Tier 1 in Bahrain here. And we're going to have a Wanky and a Pro Pepsi, these two guy competitor for every step. Pepsi into the pit.
Yep, Frosty has come into the pit lane. Your race leader has finally swapped out for a man who was 19. P19 was his position when he started this race. All the way down at the bottom of the barrel, and he's climbed, and he's clawed, and he has made his way all the way to P1, the top position. 1.9 separating the Williams to the McLaren, and Websy really needs to start putting his head down and thinking strategy-wise what he wants to achieve. Frosty's down in P7, and he's going to have drivers who aren't exactly struggling on their tyres. For example, Checkered Flag in the V-card. I mean, in comparison to Frosty, it will still be a big difference. However, 8-lap-old soft compound tyres, especially for the C3s, there will be a lot of fight left in for the V-carb driver, and how he'll continue to try and defend against Frosty is another question. If he'll just let him by to make sure he doesn't do any type of consideration to his race, we don't know. Whatever the case may be, Websy up into P1, new race leader, and a new one at that one as well. And Websy has really pushed himself to the very limit. 1 second separated between Fins as well, so Williams also still in contention for a race win. It's not exactly like he's out, but as we mentioned previously with Fins, because we brought this up, he is on fresh new tyres, but with Websy on 24-lap-old hard compound tyres, same for Apollo Pepsi, same for Marcus Costa. And yellow flag deployed, that is Mercedes, Marcus Costa. And it is Marcus Costa as well who has done that spin. Unfortunate for him. The team from Brackley losing a front wing and debris just being spread off the circuit there. No VSC or safety car. Green flag clearly being waved, running a bit wide. Doesn't have the downforce anymore to support him. Oi, that was very close. Getting way too quickly on the throttle there. And Mercedes P12, as he will most likely come back into the pit lane a little earlier than probably what he was expecting, but 24 laps on those hard compound tyres, it's definitely not a bad stint, it's just the bad end to his stint.
Yeah, I think Websy is considered to change his tyre like these 25 laps of hard compounds to running here, and there will be another 20 something laps to go, so that's why it will be likely have to do something into the pit lane once again or something. And sorry, I have to go, and because I got
yes, I did hear about this. You have a league race, right, at 5:15 my time.
Yeah, suppose that is low wet fat, I can finish this commentary with you. Sorry about that bit, and
no, it's fine.
I have to leave you alone for another 20 something laps, and hopefully this we can have a very good call by yourself, and likely is there anybody in the box. Teams can join you. I will try to ask them to join you. But apparently I have to go, and I have to see you around. And thank you for the coming. And then there was still some battle out there, and the Websy try to take the position once again with T1.
Yep, thank you for the commentary session. It was very fun. But racing still continues here. Frosty Oz now goes up to P4 against Apollo Pepsi in the Red Bull Chill Pill in P7, falling down to P8 as he gets a new fresh set of tyres, a new pair of boots as it is said, and it's back onto the mediums, but a new set, and Jeneth Lee leaving the session, of course, and continuing on with the racing. Well and truly at its very finest, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an incredible session so far, lap 35 of 57, and everyone just starting to switch over to new set of tyres. It's becoming more and more current, but Websy's gone 26 lap on those hard compound tyres. He's really proving how long you can go on a single stint of tyres. Same for Verk as well, 26 laps on those medium compound tyres. The C2s and C1s clearly working quite well with one another. I wonder how high that percentage would be in terms of tyre wear for those medium compound tyres. It really does intrigue me. But for I believe that is Ashed in the Twitch chat. All my homies hate West Australians, especially Gatorade. Lemon Haze, I hope you do realise I am from Perth, Western Australia, and I appreciate all the compliments you've done on commentary, but you know, let's just consider that as well. And wanting to switch the gap to leader, no problem at all as we continue with racing here around, and you can see the deficit right at the back of the field. Mr. Cool Car's a minute 22. He isn't exactly about to be blue flagged, but it's definitely getting closer and closer. Websy 8/10 off Fins in the Williams, so McLaren continue to try and bring himself closer right there as well. Oh, that is exactly why I said it, JP. Also ignore the underscores in my name. Fair enough. Either way, racing has cooled down a lot, but it is still there. It is still exciting, just as ever, so don't you dare go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. McLaren 6/10 off the Williams of Fins, and just starting to close in a little bit more. Can't seem to close it all the way, though, and he's just hanging on. McLaren clearly struggling with his tyres a bit more. It's more just enduring at the moment. 12-lap old soft compound tyres. Fins is clearly just comfortable at the moment. Maybe he's trying to push, but if that is the case between the two pushing, then Websy really does have ridiculous pace on his side. But Jesus, when is Websy going to get off those hards? He's going to get off those hards the moment that he feels like it, clearly. He's P2. He's still right with Fins. He's still getting DRS. It's still pulling him along. Yellow flag deployed for the Alpine of JTE Carly down in P13, but no problems on that side, at least for the time being. And the main gap that we're all focusing on, 2.5 tenths, now becomes a tenth, is the McLaren of Websy on the outside line. Goes for the rotation of it. Fins not even fighting it for a second. And is Websy finally coming off? No. Why would you even think that, is what the McLaren's probably thinking in his head. And Fins now has an opportunity with DRS to come back at him. And I wonder if these two are working together together, giving each other the opportunity for DRS to allow themselves to pull further out in front. They're going to need it. Frosty's on 4-lap old medium compound tyres, 8.4 behind, and the DRS has clearly helped them as they once again get it, continuing up towards turn 4. Frosty does not have any type of DRS, and it is not helping his cause, but clearly the better tyre is still working in his favour, so we'll have to wait and see as he approaches out of the exit of turn 4, right on the bump of the hairpin as well, how that will work out later into this race. Anyone in the pit lane, of course, if you'd like to have a little chat with me, JP, Jamie Perry, the man, the myth, the legend, of course, anyone that would love to have a little commentary session from lap 37 to 57, 20 laps remaining, then please let me know on the Twitch chat. I'll get you invited to the PS party, and we can have a great party here around Bahrain Grand Prix for the remainder of this race, pun intended. Obviously, we'll switch back to interval times. Oh, big spin there for the Mercedes driver. Don't know what was taking Blair. Just apologies for switching to the intervals there as we once again get back the normal information. Aiden Rizium's coming back into the pit lane and retiring. Haas has had enough. Marcus Costa. This is the second weekend in a row. We've not really seen the normal Marcus Costa, it seems, ever since he's left that Haas seat, at least from what I've seen. Every single time Marcus seems to be in a Haas seat, he seems to be competitive. Every time I see him everywhere else, he just seems to be on the back foot, and Mercedes coming into the pit lane, and I can only assume for the rest of this race to be back in the garage, and it is exactly that. Unfortunate for the team from Brackley, who had a fantastic race on his side as well. And 5 tenths separating Verk, who now comes into the pit lane. So that's actually a broken gap at the moment. 29 laps for Websy at the moment. Brosef would be hating that pit and quit for the Haas. Yeah, I can only assume Brosef would be the team principal for Haas. And things definitely slowing down a touch as things are really starting to get into a bit of a mood, we could say. It's slowing down significantly. Lap 38 of 57. Hopefully we're all well this afternoon, this evening, here around the Bahrain Grand Prix. The action's not going away for even a second, though. Farmer Sam, 5.5 tenths off P8 at the moment. K5 in the Alpine, trying to keep that gap well and truly alive at the moment. 12-lap hold, soft compound tyres for Dark and Shadows behind, so he'll be trying to cut down that gap at the moment. 3.2 is where it sits, between 6.5 for Farmer Sam on the 20-lap old medium compound tyres. The real question and the real excitement builds up once Fins start to be re-overtaken. That's only going to happen once Frosty and Websy consider that being a thing for the future. I mean, Websy's yet to come into the pit lane. He's only 1.3 off on 30-lap old hard compound tyres. He's reached the 30-lap mark, and it's clear to see he's going for a really short and competitive stint, and he's trying to extend out the gap. I don't know how likely that's going to be with how old his tyres are becoming. You can see the gap between Frosty and Websy is coming down. Obviously, no shock with that one. 6 laps ago was when he switched to those medium compound tyres, but maybe Websy wants to skip the hassle of the mediums and trying to get it up to temperature. He wants to immediately attack onto those C3 soft compound tyres and see what type of damage he can do. Aiden, force feedback, cut in and out. He lost audio too. This game is awful lately, so that would be the reason that Aiden has left. Obviously, that is the Haas team principal commenting on his behalf, and why exactly the Haas of Aiden Risman has now retired from this race. I know what he's done with his last name, by the way, and it's really annoying, but you're lucky I'm so professional as a commentator, otherwise I would not say very nice things about that last name. Either way, I'm kidding. No one take it seriously. Alright, Liquid Jake Williams, P6, continue to bring himself closer. Bring back F123. Agreed and disagreed. They're all the same at the end of the day. Williams of Liquid Jake, 1/10 off Apollo Pepsi in the Red Bull, and P6 continuing to try and bring down this gap. And the British constructor really has a memo for him to achieve at the moment into that top 5. Right now you can see 4th gear, 5th, and eventually 6th as he continues upshifting towards flat to the floor, pedal to the metal before braking down into turn 14, the kink at turn 15, both considered the final corner of Bahrain as well. And Red Bull now coming into the pit lane. Apollo Pepsi on 30-lap-old hard compound tyres. Another driver on the hards to eventually do it. Websy still wants to keep pushing on, however. Going into turn 4, 31 laps on the hard compound tyres. And those C1s really being proven on how much they can go. I mean, we need to consider a few factors here. It is nighttime. It's cool conditions. It's calm. It's breezy. When considering stuff like this, it obviously allows for the tyre temp to be in that window for a longer period of time without it dropping out. It allows for someone like Websy to be on 31 laps on those hard compound tyres and him for at least to feel comfortable. I'm sure it's getting harder and harder to control, especially with the lack of grip he would be starting to feel. I mean, Jesus, it would have been hard at 20 laps. Imagine how it feels at 31 laps of action. So a big round of applause for the McLaren drivers. The Papaya continuing to make it a back-to-back victory for himself. Silverstone offered great racing, and it was a great battle, especially between actually someone that's actually quite close to him, Fins in the Williams. And it all came down to that final lap around Silverstone, which started to break away between these two as there was a mistake on Fins' behalf. And this is quite shocking. Fins is coming into the pit lane, and finally, Websy in the Papaya. McLaren makes the call. Frosty will remake it into P1. And the battle between these two started in Silverstone. They couldn't finish it at Silverstone. They have unfinished business at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Frosty takes the lead on 8-lap-old medium compound tyres. Checkered flag on 16-lap-old soft compound tyres. It's going to be easy between these two who've gone to the C3 softs. They have one job and one job in mind. Take the victory. Take the podium. Take whatever they possibly can, because it's a fight all the way to the checkered flag. Frosty could get it done. Right now, that penalty shouts 3 seconds, and he'll want to keep it above that 5.9 deficit, and he will do. He will do against the V-Carb. However, when you have competitors who are only 9.3 behind and pushing like their life's dependent on it, pushing like they know this is for a race win, who knows how this will end? Will it end with Frosty keeping the lead of the race, picking up the win, having a solid strategy, and having the deficit that just worked out a little better? Or will it be Websy down in P4? The McLaren has had the pace all afternoon, all evening, and all night here in Sakhir. Who will it be by the end of this race? The question really starts to be asked as Frosty Oz in P1. It's a ticking time bomb now. When could it possibly be answered is the real question. Checkered flag. Now only 15 laps away. We're getting close now, ladies and gentlemen. McLaren in P2, and as we fall a little behind, Farmer Sam in the kick Sauber, 9/10 off him at the moment, and that's referring to the Alpine of K5 on 14-lap-old hard compound tyres. Fins up into P2, checkered flag coming into the pit lane. Well, now the conversation switches. Checkered flag is brought out of the equation, and it becomes a very simple formula. Two drivers on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, the C3s, in the Pirelli range, compared to someone on 9-lap-old medium compound tyres, the C2s, in the Pirelli range. They have the grip advantage, they have the traction, but Frosty still does too. Who can endure more? Who can get the best out of their pace? It's really going to come down to the last 7 laps when we reach lap 50, and it's going to come all the way down to the wire, as it always seems to do so. It may be nighttime, JPM 13, but it wouldn't be cold in Bahrain. Well, no, to be fair, you're right, but they are still in a desert, and I think you're forgetting that deserts, and especially very tropical or very dry climates, especially at nighttime, they get extremely cold. Actually, you'll find, let's say the Sahara Desert, for example, at nighttime gets much colder than what you'd get in somewhere like Sydney. So actually, you're actually wrong. I hate to be that person, but now considering K5 in P6, the Alpine, bringing himself closer towards checkered flag in the V-Carb. Fins only needs to get within 3 seconds. Remember, you're right, you are correct. But look at that deficit, 12 seconds. It is only 3 seconds that he needs to be in. But we know how these drivers are. 3 seconds has always been something that, can be discussed when a penalty is put upon someone for track limits. But here is another thing. Yellow flag deployed as well for the Aston Martin and the Ghost Rider. But here's another point that people need to make. These drivers love boasting egos. And, you know, sometimes they like to keep it cool and calm. And they want to understate things. And that's fair enough. But they love to give the best statistic possible by the end of this race. And if it means that they had a 3-second time penalty plus they overtook him, they'll obviously take the opportunity to overtake him. If it's not possible, then of course they'll settle for the win just by getting that 3-second penalty in their favor. But don't doubt for a second that they won't push for that extra margin, because they definitely will. Websy having some issues apparently. Oh, sound issues. Oh, that's not great in his favor, especially, and here's something that people should obviously pick up on. A lot of people, they're like, I can't drive without engines. I need engines. I need the sound of an engine. Now, yes, don't get me wrong, ICE sound incredible and much better than what any electric could ever sound like. I agree. Here is the difference, though. Websy just needs the sound of his tires. He needs to see how they're locking. He needs to hear his brakes. He needs to hear the things that are actually going to help him understand how his car is tracking along, how his pace is being considered. It needs to be considered like that, not the engine. Well, you can't drive without an engine, JP. You're not wrong. Okay. It really is, and it's not fun with no sound or sound cutting in and out. Well, all right, listen, I get it. Right, the engine, yes, you know, jokes and whatever. I'm just specifically talking about pace and how they want to push it. Websy driving an EV. If Websy was driving an EV, I wouldn't be commentating today, because someone would be driving an electric Formula 1 car, and that's illegal. Right now, you can see 6 seconds separated between Websy and Fins, actually. And that's something else I'm starting to notice upon. Websy doesn't seem to have the pace that he previously had. McLaren in P3 hasn't really been cutting down time like Fins has. 9.3 seconds to Frosty Oz on 11-lap-old medium compound tyres for the Haas. And I think more than anything, it's becoming clearer and clearer and more obvious that maybe Williams and Fins does actually have the advantage above Websy. 6.1 seconds now. Oh dear, that is not working in his favor at the moment. I'm gonna stop looking at that Twitch chat, because you're making me say ridiculous things at the moment. 4/10 separated between Farmer Sam in the Kick Sauber, to Dark and Shadow in the V-Carb. And right now, still really starting to look like it's evening out a bit more for the green and black car. Track map states currently into turn 8, exit already reached and made in the Alpine in P7, a K5, watching action from behind, and a big swoop around the outside. Fantastic move for Apollo Pepsi as Liquid Jake finally on the back straight on the exit of turn 13 managed to get that move stuck in stone. That was incredible. And more towards turn 12, but on the exit of turn 13, had it stuck in stone, and Liquid Jake had to back out of it. A big swoop that nothing seemed to come back at him for. And Liquid Jake now P9 with DRS active, has an opportunity, has the slipstream in tow, inside line, overtake for P8 and does get it done. Swoops back in to defend across him and onto the apex of the corner, making sure no opportunity can be given to the Red Bull. He's still right on top of them though. Can he get another opportunity? Can't seem to. Just blocked out and not close enough to take the inside or outside. So Red Bull will stay in P9 with no help for DRS all the way until the exit of turn 10. Fresh set of drivers coming into the pit lane now. Ghost Rider and his teammate of Tyler all coming on a new set of what I can only assume will be the C3 soft compound tyres. 1.9 seconds separate 18-lap-old hards for anyone else on the circuit. The oldest tyre on the circuit, apart from actually Mr. Cool Cars down in P16, the Red Bull, 21 laps from what we saw previously. The oldest overall lap that we saw since the very beginning of this race was, of course, Websy, 32 laps and pushing. He was an absolute mammal, and right now, animal, sorry, my apologies. Websy in P3 though, 7.1 behind, and he's not getting any closer. That McLaren is struggling. He can't seem to make up any further pace anymore. 5 lap holds, soft compound tyres, and the C3s aren't working. At least for the McLaren specifically. I mean, I'm sure he's trying to push everything he can in terms of energy and strain and absolute push to the checkered flag, but Websy doesn't have the pace. And so maybe this fight between the two, this constant bickering between McLaren and Williams that we once saw at Silverstone, couldn't get the job done. One went into the gravel trap, and on that occasion it was Websy who went out on top. So maybe on this occasion, maybe with Frosty and Finns back into consideration, back with their pace, back on the board, back with them right in front of them, something that could be considered for themselves. Just looking at the Twitch chat, momentarily seems to be all calm and cool though on that side, and seems to be all cool, calm and collected in the race. It really is just come down to gaps at the moment, and the racing has definitely started to slow down. I'm going to be the first one to mention, of course, but that is how racing goes sometimes. Sometimes you get a strategic masterpiece like this with incredible racing in the beginning. It falls away and it brings up right near towards the end with an incredible finish. Sometimes you get that midfield fight and it just starts to separate itself near towards the checkered flag with a bit more of a gap that sees the conclusion of the race. And on this case, it seems to be the first option and not the latter. It's going to be a big finish if Finns can get close enough. 4.5 seconds. That gap isn't coming down as quickly as it was previously, and Websy seemingly just feeling a bit more comfortable within himself. He's actually got the V-carb of what I can only assume would be checkered flag, but I don't know which V-carb. I can only assume that's Dark and Shadows then, the teammate to, of course, checkered flag, who is promisingly going to be blue flagged by one of the people, but no, that's Farmer Sam, so potentially a Red Bull then, and that would be Mr. Cool Car. See, why did F1 do this? Why have they made it so the blues have become so similar? How am I supposed to tell that's a V-carb or a Red Bull? EA thought they were making it easier, and what weld either way. Red Bull on the outside line. Apollo Pepsi goes up to P8 against K5, M5, and Alpine now dropping down in position on 20-lap-old hard compound tyres. He's gone long for the final stint. Don't know if that's worked in his favour. He's now down another position compared to a lot fresher soft compound tyres, and it has meant for someone like Dark and Shadows has another opportunity, but 19.3 seconds down, I highly doubt it. But for K5, it is continuing to fall away for him at that very point. Oh god, what is happening, Jesus? You know what? They're talking about presidential elections and Donald Trump's attempted assassination. We don't care about that. Come on, it's racing here in IRL. It's racing at its finest, and it is racing all the way to the checkered flag. 10 laps remaining, including lap 48, due to the fact that it has not been a complete lap to its fullest. And now racing continuing to close in and tighten up, especially for P2 and P1. 3.3 seconds for the Williams compared to Frosty Oz. Right now, the 7-lap-old soft compound tyres just not working in his favour, though. He can't seem to get in the window he was looking for. And curb to curb, apex to apex, the fireworks will be out for that final lap. And who it will be seems to be a debate between these two. Websy now 7.6 behind, getting up towards the Alpine of JTE Carly. Another blue flag coming his way. But yeah, no, the racing has definitely started to sublimify itself a little bit more. It's slowed down a lot more. It's gone to a point where it's come down to gaps in strategy and not racing on circuit. And that will come down to lap 57, where we may get to see it all over again. Track map still looking stronger than ever. And so is the circuit. Nighttime and the bright lights, the floodlights as they like to call it, shining onto the circuit here. Beaming it with energy and beaming it with a crowd ready to support anyone, everyone, and whoever is ready to step up to the fight. And Finns in the Williams in P2 for the time being. I got to cook for these last couple of laps, man. I am falling apart as a commentator, so let's cook. What do we say we cook a little bit? 2.2 seconds though. Finns in the Williams P2 now down to 2.1. That 2-second deficit is getting closer. Like I said, apex to apex, corner to corner. It is about the momentum you carry. It is all about what you can do to the checkered flag. Nearly to the 50-lap mark and nearly to the end of this race, we go down to 1.5 seconds. And it has been a long push ever since he came into the pit lane. Same for Websy, but he didn't have the pace on his side. So it comes down to two men. And here is the question that needs to be answered. Is it desperation or is it confidence on the face of Finns? Is it the Williams who will lunge down a move into turn 1 at the first opportunity as he's now into the 1 second gap? DRS will now be activated going down the pit straight. It's Williams or Haas, it's Frosty or Finns, a fight all the way to the checkered flag, and it starts here with P2. Does he send the move down the inside? Yes, he does. It's a late lunge, but it is stuck in zone. Bit of a kick on the rear. The fronts are locking, and now the Haas right behind pushes all the way towards the Williams. Williams is your new race leader. A man who started so high up in qualifying, fell away, has come back, and Williams trying to resurrect the mistakes he made, redo the mistakes he made in Silverstone, and have a much better finish than what we saw 1 week ago at the British Grand Prix. Here in Bahrain, Frosty falls down to P2, and Websy has the opportunity to try and come back at him. McLaren way too far away for another opportunity back onto the top step of the podium, but can he take away P2 for the Haas driver? He's going to take a podium at the very least at this very current time. 10.9 seconds separating checkered flag in the V-carb to the Websy McLaren. It just seems as if time has stood still. No one wants to budge. No one wants to move. No one wants to give up all the way to the checkered flag. And it has been incredible from start to finish. And we haven't even reached the finish yet. Right now, Frosty 1.2 seconds behind, and that gap has well and truly extended past the point where that rear wing will open, and so Haas has lost out big time on those 18-lap-old medium compound tyres. McLaren as well, P3. And that is all that has wrote, at least in the case for the Haas driver. He can try and put all his grit and determination all the way to the checkered flag, but he just can't seem to get it done. And the Haas of Frosty Oz in P2, 1.4 behind, the gap extending, the gap behind decreasing very slowly but surely. Websy trying to come back at him. 6 laps to break down 8.2 is not an easy task, especially for 10-lap-old soft compound tyres. It's going to work in the favour of Finns, at least on this case round. Can he make it to the final corner? And more especially, can he complete the third and final sector? Joke, of course, but can he really try and redirect his championship at the moment? He finished in P6, Finns. He had an opportunity for a podium and he threw it all away. And in terms of the constructors' fight, Williams would only come home in P6 because his teammate Liquid Jake only finished P13. Now, Liquid Jake on this occasion is in P7, and on this occasion as well for Finns, he's in P1. Maybe this was never about Websy. Maybe this was never about Frosty. Maybe this was about no other driver than the man we currently see in the dark blue and light blue Williams with the white stripes to come across and the sponsors to fill out the rest. Maybe it was this man, Finns, who wanted to have the spotlight on him. It was all about Redemption Day. It was all about how he could make up for the loss he found in Silverstone, and he's done exactly that. It's just how he can finish it out. 5 laps remaining here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's been a long one. It's been an entertaining one, however, and it really does end in a fantastic way. Is it going to be the fairy tale ending that Finns was hoping for? Websy wanted back-to-back. Williams denied that opportunity, had the pace on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Frosty tried to come back at him, but the tyres were too degraded, they were too old, and they were wearing out too quickly for the traction to be on his side. So now JTE Carly losing position to another blue flag of checkered flag. And it really just shows you the length and the distance that this has gone to. Drivers all the way up to maybe P11, P10 are starting to be blue flagged now. It really is starting to extend and really showcase these drivers' pace and how immortal they can be on a circuit. And the question lies to you. How immortal can you be? How experienced can you become? How much pace can you achieve? And we're getting those questions answered right here in Bahrain at the Sakhir Grand Prix. And Red Bull and Apollo Pepsi continuing this fight has a good opportunity now. 4.5 tenths. Can here on lap 53 of 57 get that opportunity. Doesn't look like he's going to do it down into turn 14 or 15, but he will onto the pit straight. And Red Bull and Milton Keynes looking for another position higher. Penalty against his name as well, so it is definitely against the wall and onto the back foot. But Red Bull, inside line, flows through and up to P7 goes Apollo Pepsi. Incredible stuff from the team from Milton Keynes, who now is 5.6 seconds off Ferk in the Ferrari, and has continued to try and bring himself closer. However, I think with such little time remaining, with such little laps continuing to be on display, clearly for that Red Bull, that is all they're going to be able to fight for. 5.6 seconds plus a penalty. It's still going to be Liquid Jake in P8 due to that penalty against Red Bull's name. So right now it's actually still disadvantage to the team from Milton Keynes, and he really has a lot more to push through if he wants that opportunity to finish in P7. P8 looking a bit more confident and a slightly cocky, I would say, on his side, because he knows he can keep it cool and calm. He doesn't even need to pressurize him to keep that position in his favor. Right now, though, the gaps are high, wide and mighty right near the front of the field. Finn's in P1. He's continued to extend it. Websy has brought it down, but nowhere near enough to what he needs to do to be into P2. What we can say is statistic, though, it's 2 podiums in a row if he does come across that checkered flag. And it really has been an incredible race on display. What I can see in the Twitch chat, and if there was a red flag, we may have to restart right from the beginning, right? I mean, it only makes sense. I can only assume we'd probably do a 5-lapper. Liquid Jake now inside line and looking to regain the move against Apollo Pepsi. That was originally lost out. A bit of a kick on the rear there for the Williams, but he's kept it all nice and clean. No problems at all. And up into P8 before immediately being dropped down, into P8 as P7 regained. I love that by Apollo Pepsi. He takes lines we don't normally see, and that team from Milton Keynes loves to really make the most of it. Red Bull, especially, like I said, Apollo Pepsi looks at that outside line, goes, I can make it work. I have the grip. I have the traction. And he goes and sends it, gets the rotation through, and what do you know? Makes the move stick, and he did it on that occasion going into the S's at Bahrain, and Apollo Pepsi back up into P7. It doesn't help his causes or his chances of keeping that position due to the penalty that's against his name, but it's been one great fight that we've seen. Ferrari with a yellow flag, maybe lost the rear out for just a second there. GLX Cam down in P13, and nothing that can be considered as well above anything else. It's gotta be the three red flag restarts we had. On the third go, it was a successful one, and we're about to reach lap 56 of 57, but in terms of those first two, it's clear to see. Oh, that was tough. Frosty only has 3 seconds, guys. Yeah, there you go. You can get a better idea of that. 3 seconds for Frosty Oz. So Websy 5.9. You know, it's still not close enough at this current time. He still needs to bring down that gap. 5.8. Websy's going to push it, and we'll have to keep a good close eye out. But he's going to try it. He is going to try, and obviously it's been that whole way. The constant pressurizing. You know, just stop for one moment and take it all in. Lap 55 or 57, that's something as a commentator you don't do enough, because you're rushing and you're speeding and you don't take the opportunity to just let it all come to you. It has been an incredible race from start to right now here on lap 55, 57, checkered flag. It has been an incredible fight of constant pressurizing, constant fighting, a battle all the way that we've seen to right now at this very point, present point, lap 56 or 57, the penultimate lap of racing. But it has been constantly pressurizing, constantly against everyone who tried looking for an opportunity, and anyone who tried opening that door and dove right through it to make it stick and count. Well, it worked better than any other occurrence. Here in IRL, here in Inters Racing League, here for round 2, season 7, tier number 1. The big dogs go racing, the competitive drivers of the Oceanic region, they all gather here at IRL. It's where they do it best. Inters Racing League, a perfect place for you to showcase your ability and what you can do as a driver. Plenty others, but no one does it like green and black. And for the case for Sauber, I don't think that's going to occur just as good as what it will for IRL. But Red Bull right on the rear end and the rear diffuser of Liquid Jake. It's been a constant battle between these two. They want to go to war all over again. Going into the S's now. Approaching into turn 8. Inside line. No, doesn't think about it. No late lunge for the Red Bull driver. But Apollo Pepsi still sizing up a move. Even with that penalty. I mean, technically, if he took the driver out and kept position, he'd be up a position. However, we know the absolutely reliability of these drivers. We know how clean they are, especially above all out. They are competitive. The best of the best. The fastest in the Oceanic region. The fastest here in IRL. And we start lap 57 of 57. The final lap of racing has joined upon us. Frosty Oz, 7.3 down. Websy is 1 second off P2. He wants to maximize his points. Does he have it in him to try and bring it down? McLaren, the spotlight has moved to you, and it's Websy's job now to do what he does best, and that's drive his heart out. That's drive all the way to the checkered flag. And who will it be between Frosty and Websy for P2? It's down to 3.6. It's down to 3.5. The time continuing to tick along, and it does not seem to last for Frosty here. We're down to a 5/10 margin. He needs a fantastic final sector. Will it be Websy in P2? We have no idea. But what we now know, on the 3rd sector, in the back straight, it's redemption day for a spin out onto the entrance of the hangar straight at the British GP. He comes back, and it's Fins and Williams who wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. And as we look at the deficit, it is Websy who now goes up to P3 and P2. Frosty Oz couldn't keep it. 2.4 seconds. And it is Fins, Websy, Frosty, the podium set in stone. My God, what a race that was. IRL turn up to the max. Inters Racing League delivers again with another outstanding race. 95 milliseconds. What's it going to be again? Across the line, they couldn't even tell, but it was close deficits between the Williams and Red Bull. Same for the Ferrari and our Sauber. Across the line, K5, P9, P10 is Farmer Sam, P11 will be Dark in Shadows. It was a great fight from him. V-Carb didn't have the pace this weekend. He'll have to come back another weekend to see if he does have it in his favor a little later on. Ladies and gentlemen, that is racing at its finest. That was 57 laps of action. We have just completed 308.238 kilometers in racing distance in a circuit that is only 5.12 kilometers in circuit length. 57 laps completed, checkered flag waved, and I'm sorry, we have to just bring this out for a second. Round of applause to you guys in the Twitch chat. Here in Twitch, Inters Racing League has reached 50 viewers, 50, and I just want you all to give a big round of applause because all of you have made this happen. Your constant support, your care, and your love for this league has allowed you to see that number, and a big round of applause. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you support me and every driver, including this man on the top step of the podium who raises that trophy high. Williams on top from what was such a disappointing race first time round. He just couldn't keep it together. And now in Silverstone, he did everything he could and he got it done. Wow. Incredible. That is something we love to see here in IRL. Just fixing my audio there real quickly. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A 1:29.666 is your fastest lap. It's not just the win, it's fastest lap included. Started P3, ends in P1, fins with Redemption Day here in Bahrain. So, let's go down the order. Webbs in P2, Frosty Oz in P3, checkered flag 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it continues all the way down to P20 with Shawnee in the McLaren. A big collision caused by apparently Mertz, by my words, but it wasn't. Another driver would have potentially been a part of it, and it falls at the end of it. Fireworks, raise high, apex to apex, corner to corner. Wow, oh wow. That is how you race in a Formula 1 car. So, with that being said, none of you, I see you all dispersing away, none of you leave for a second, because now you don't get to have to only hear from my voice, you get to hear from the drivers who just entertained you for 57 laps of action. We move to the interviews, and we move to the best part of this entire point. I hope, because it's Frosty, Webbsy, and P1, of course, was Finn's. We got close. We got 2 on PlayStation 1 on the Xbox, so we're going to do it on Discord. All good. We can switch around there. Do not go away for a single second, ladies and gentlemen, because we got interviews time now. Let's see. Do we even have an interviews? Is there like an interview box? IRL, that's a little suggestion for you. Make an interview box. Right, we'll do comms box, and then people can just do this. What we'll do is we'll link it. Obviously, stick with me here for a second, ladies and gentlemen, of course. We just need to get to that point. But it's been a fantastic race with so much on display. Alrighty. So, with that being said, hopefully we can get some interviews very, very soon. Frosty is TP at DRS Draft, so he won't make it. All good. No problems with that one. I do see that Down Under Racing has gone live on that side. Obviously, once we get the interviews done and dusted, please go join them. Go show some much-needed support and love. It's actually another thing I do, DRS. So this DRS Creator Series, PSGL, most recently as well. So we always love what we put on display. However, let's try and get some interviews there. Finns, you're in the Twitch chat. How about you come and join this little link that I have sent out for you? And we can do some interviews with one another. The race winner of Bahrain. Love a little chat with the race winner and see what we can get out of you. See if there was maybe a struggle on any of your tires at that point. Obviously, a lot of you extended quite wide, so we'd love an opportunity. Obviously, Frosty can't because of DRS. Webbsy will be in a couple of minutes. I do believe that here is him who's just joined in. So, max the volume there. Also, it's a little scuff because it's my phone on my microphone, but it works well, trust me. Anyway, so we'll now switch to the man who finished in a very scarce but secured P number 2. Frosty couldn't keep the pace with him on that final lap, and it allowed you into that second place position. P1 last week, it's P2 this week. Webbsy, congratulations on what has been another fantastic performance on your side. I'll talk about it real quickly though. We got to that final part of the race. You switched to the soft compound tyres, same as our race winner Finns did. You just didn't seem to have the pace compared to him. What kind of happened near the end there?
Yeah, I'll tell you why I didn't have the pace. It's because as soon as I made the stop, my sound just completely cut off from the game, and it would only come back for the last 2 corners.
Right.
And then on the main straight, it would just cut off again. So I had to do pretty much 17 full laps without sound, which is why I finished 10 seconds probably behind where I should have.
Mate,
but yeah, I'm happy I brought home P2 though, considering.
That is horrific. So just EA doing EA things at its finest, really. It's unfortunate above anything else, but, you know, we always hope for the game to eventually fix itself, which never seems to be the case, but maybe one day. I don't know, once Codemasters decides to leave EA, would seem to be the best way.
Yeah,
Anyway, moving away from that point, because even with the audio problems, you still managed to pick up P2, which is only a position lower than what we saw, obviously, last week. You managed to pick up that win, obviously referring to Silverstone as well. You were just skimmed out on a potential chance of going in P2 again, because Yusuf was right on your rear end that time round. On this case, though, nothing really behind you that was pressurizing you, and only pressure for the driver in front of you, which, of course, is referring to the man who was originally in P2, who is now Frosty doing his DRS team principal VC, so fair enough to him. But let's obviously talk about those, 32 laps on the hard compound tyres? My God, what a stint you did. I mean, did you just feel comfortable in the tyres? Did you feel as if, you could just keep going with no problems?
They felt rubbish, to be honest, but they weren't falling off a cliff. I think that was the thing. They were rubbish through the whole stint, so they didn't get any more rubbish. So I felt like I could just keep going on them and hopefully put the softs on at the end, which did end up happening. The hards only got to about 40%, I think. So yeah, they were a really good tyre for wear, but just pace-wise, they were just nowhere.
Absolutely. Just getting the McLaren car for you in the thing, because obviously you were driving McLaren. All right, lovely.
Yep.
Anyway, continuing with that, of course, tyres was a big talking point that I brought up throughout the race. And, in McLaren's behalf, and obviously for you as well, I don't know how to describe it. It seemed like the tyre temp was really hard to get up to the correct window. And then, because it was the hardest in the entire Pirelli range, it just kept going and going and going. Yeah, I feel like I managed to get the temps up on the hards because of the safety car, because I just went into AI mode and it gets them up to around 90, 95 degrees. Yep.
And then they just sit there, but it was actually quite hard to get the softs up to temperature on the third stint, because, it's just so hard to warm up tyres, so it took a solid, 3-4 laps for me. Yeah.
And also, for anyone in the broadcast wondering why I'm not doing all the cinematic movements that I normally do with Showcase mode, they removed it for F1 24, so you can thank EA for that one, so you just have to look at a standing picture of a McLaren. Better than anything, I guess. Either way, one final question, or at least two final questions for you, which isn't technically final, but we'll go along with it. First one, of course, is your teammate, Shawnee. I don't know if you want to comment on it, of course, but there was contact with another driver. I still don't actually know who exactly it was, but something caused him to go head first, nose first more than anything, directly into a barrier and take him out of this race. I mean, how did this affect you both as a team, but then also in the Constructors' Championship?
I saw it in the team chat, his POV, and he was going alongside someone. I don't remember who it is. But yeah, the other person's internet was just terrible, and, it just kind of bounced into him, and he got put in a wall. So it was neither driver's fault, but it's really unfortunate. But he did engineer me through the rest of the race, which was a big help, so shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one final question. Round 2 has come to an end, but the championship just keeps on rolling and the calendar keeps on ticking down, as it always seems to do. So going into the remainder of Season 7, next round is, quite surprisingly, Hungary at Budapest for Round 3. No longer an Enduro round, just your usual 50% distance. So how are you feeling for that one? It's also not a sprint weekend, which I think we're going to be getting a little later on. But how are you feeling for Hungary? It's classified as Monaco without the walls, so is it going to be about getting good qualifying positions?
Yeah, for sure. And I do like Hungary. It's definitely one of my better tracks alongside Monaco, so there's definitely similarities there. But Bahrain and Silverstone are probably two of my worst, so I'm hoping to do better than what I'm doing now for the next rounds, like Hungary.
Mate, I'll be honest, if your worst is getting P2, even if there was a penalty with Frosty, then I would love to see what your best is. If it's a win with a 20-second deficit, lovely.
Hopefully, but yeah, we'll see.
Whatever the case may be, it's P2 in your favour. It's another podium as well, and you're yet to step off that podium, so hopefully that pattern continues going into Hungary. We'll have to wait and see, but congratulations on P2 today.
Yeah, cheers. See you next week.
Yep. So, Frosty, are you short on time? Do you need to quickly rush into DRS, or...?
Nah, I've got pick 20
in DRS, so it's fine.
Oh, great. Okay. We'll come back to you then. We'll quickly have a little chat with... Oh, sorry, never mind. Because you were P3. I was considering penalties and stuff. So, P3 then. My bad. Obviously, you seem to have a race that was quite fulfilling, let's say, more than anything. It was long, of course, 57 laps of action, which is equal in terms of distance, which is upwards of 308.238 kilometers. So plenty of racing today and plenty of driving. But of course, strategy was a little different compared to others. Obviously, we saw... you could say the second last pit stop that a lot of other drivers did. It was the last one for you personally. You boxed onto the medium compound tyres, and a few other drivers stayed out, which then, of course, allowed you to be on fresher tyres, which meant you caught back up to them. Then they went on to the softs, but only one man could get past you, and that's the man who currently sits in P1, and the other had to rely on a penalty. So overall... to be honest, in terms of action and excitement, it mainly comes down to the very beginning of the race for you personally. I mean, obviously, I wasn't fully focusing on your start specifically. I was focusing more on P1 and P2 at that point and lap one. But kind of talk me through the start of your race and how you kind of got into the position you got in, so you could just put your head down and focus for the remainder.
Well, yeah, I got a good start, obviously, on the softs, and got past Tyler, which was good, and then tried to break DRS, which didn't work. Safety car came out, and then I had no other choice but go on to mediums, which is probably the worst tyre on the game, the C2 compound, which I knew but just needed to do anyway, because I wasn't going to go on the hards. Tyres were degrading like an apps, like mega quickly, which forced me to do an earlier pit stop than I wanted to.
What's your team again? I forgot your
what's
team.
That?
I forgot your team.
Haas.
Thank you. Right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. And then, so I pitted early, and then obviously had the advantage about lap 40, but then, Fins was rapid and caught me up and then blew past me, as my mediums were just degrading on and on and on. And then, so that wasn't ideal for me, but I just was trying to keep it in, but he was just too quick.
Yeah.
And then last lap, last corner, my tyres puncture. So I lose... Yeah, my tyres punctured on the last straight, or the straight before the main straight, which caused me to get P3. I would have got P2. I had 6/10, I think, to Websy with the penalty. But yeah, they punctured at 81%, and it caused me to lose that P2. But that's all right. Stuff happens in racing, obviously, and wasn't really doing too well today. Not my best track. No practice. Came back from a big day of in real life go-karting, so that also didn't help with no practice. So we move on to next week to Hungary. Should be good. But shout out to Websy and Fins, they're mega quick. And overall just didn't have the right strategy, didn't have good pace. But I'll take a P3 for the team. It's unfortunate what happened with the puncture, but we move on to next week, and hopefully I can do a bit better there.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's been a bloody fantastic race from you. And, from every driver on that grid, specifically, of course, because it's overall just been an incredible Grand Prix to take place. But, in your case, going into Hungary, what's the confidence level? Like I said to Websy before he unfortunately had to leave, it's Monaco without the walls. It's tight. It's not easy to overtake. You get, the DRS going down the pit straight and then out of the exit of turn one. So what's your confidence next Sunday?
For Hungary, I'm not really too confident, to be honest with you. Just because I feel like this game's kind of coming away from me.
Yeah.
I moved to no assist, and I'm getting there with it, but it's just every now and again I just miss lines, and it doesn't really help to boost your confidence all that much. So I'm just trying to get to grips with it all and seeing how I go. But confidence not too great, but we'll see how we go. I needed a lot of practice, and just hopefully things just come my way.
Yeah, obviously puncture-wise, let's do scenario for just for one moment. Obviously, let's be honest here, you were beyond lucky that happened on the second last straight, because imagine it occurred at the very beginning of the lap. That would have caused you to fall, well, not only in time, that would have lost you positions as well, and probably out of the podium opportunity. So I think in a lot of ways, I'm sure you still feel grateful that you're still here, talking to me at the moment.
Yeah, obviously, you got to take it for what it's worth. If there was one more lap, I would have been cooked, unfortunately. But yeah, lucky it happened then. Just wrong decision by me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Just the strategy was stuff from the start when I had to pit for those softs, for mediums for lap 10. But we take a P3 with little confidence, no practice, and not the great strategy. But GG to Finns and Websy. They're super quick. They're mega quick. So give them props for that. And overall, just good.
Great. Well, it's been a fantastic time speaking with you. Congratulations on a fantastic P3 podium towards your name here in Season 7 Tier 1. Let's hope you can keep that up.
Thank you very much.
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one man, and one man alone. You can see it's already switched to the Williams because you know who I'm talking about. A man who, I think, above all, wanted redemption day for what happened in Silverstone. Got a little bit too overzealous on the entry of the Hangar Straight, now the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, and it caused him to finish in P6, well and truly out of any podium contention. Finns, I see you're on mute right now. Hopefully you're there, but congratulations on what has been an incredible race and a great comeback into P1, and a fantastic way to finish off your race with that final soft compound stint.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very happy. That last stint was probably one of the best stints I've ever done, going from 15 seconds behind to 25 seconds ahead at the end. 10 seconds ahead at the end, so 25-second swing. And I know he was on mediums, but I like pitting late and feeling like I'm the car catching.
Yeah.
And it was the strat I was going for. I'm happy I didn't do what I did in the second race, which was light it up and bin it on about 100 metres after the start. But, yeah, pretty good race. I should have pit at the safety car. I was talking to Jake on my phone, and just while I was paused and just completely missed the pit lane, and I would have put on some softs then, and it would have helped me keep up with Frosty in that first stint, because I made sure that I selected the softer tyre allocation, so I had at least 4 sets of softs saved. So I should have from then done a triple soft, but by not pitting, I forced myself to have to go long in those mediums, and luckily Jake on his softs caught up to me quickly, so I let him pass, and I basically just held on to his DRS for about 10 laps. And yeah, I did the double softs, extended quite a lot longer than I would have wanted, but in the end, Frosty extended way too long in his mediums, and apparently he got a puncture on the last corner, so that shows how long he went.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did 23 laps on my mediums, and they were on about 50%. And my at the end I did 17 laps on the softs, and I think they were on about 50% as well. So I think so far in this game, with how this new tyre model is in terms of you can drive to save tyres, I feel like I've been pushing hard, but I feel like with my driving style I'm able to just not be too aggressive and able to save the tyres while being fast, which has obviously helped me a lot. And clearly it's proving, because I'm able to do these longer stints while not getting close to the puncture territory. So if I can keep this up, I should be able to keep doing longer stints than others, which will help me further. And a big part of the strategy is not binning it on the last lap while you're leading. So
You know, something I've really noticed as well with people who've gone on those medium compound tyres, and even people who are on those softs for around 17 to 21 laps is, I thought obviously because we're on the hardest compound of, the Pirelli range, so obviously they could go a solid distance, but what surprises me is how high degradation still seemed to be, and I think it was simply because of it being a full 57 lap race. They just wanted an opportunity to be on, much grippier and fresher tyres near the very end of it, like you did. And I guess an add-on question for that. Obviously, going into Hungary next week, you know, Williams has now scored some much-needed points, and also specifically for you, you were P6 last week, now you're P1 this week, so a very big necessary amount of points. So now going into Hungary, is that going to be a similar strategy playing out for that 50% distance where you're going to try and maybe go a bit more overcut, you know, go for a longer lasting tyre, and then by the near end of race, that is when you'll make the switch over to a fresher set and try and make the most out of it?
We'll see, because I've noticed on this game you don't really want to start on the hard. So so far, I've been doing this in career mode. It's not really representative of league racing, but what I've been doing is, for instance, in a high 20s lap race, I'll put as early as lap 10 off the mediums and put on the hards just because they don't wear out. But just because this was such a longer race and you're doing longer stints, doing the extra pit stop to get the softs pays off. And at a track, I checked it before the race in Grand Prix mode, the softs and mediums wear out at basically the exact same amounts per lap, and it's only actually the softs being 8/10 lap faster.
Yeah.
So you might as well be on those softs, which is why I was planning to go mediums and get rid of them as quick as I could, and go on those softs, because you can extend. And the hards are good for 50%, so you'll always see them in the normal league races where it's 50%, but you can use them in the 100%. Like at some tracks you can, but most tracks they're just way too slow. And that, like softs, softs don't get used properly in 50%. They're just not really viable at all. But 100% races are where softs truly get to shine, and saving them in quali, which is what I'd done today before the restart. I only used one set out of the 4 that I had. So I'd saved 3 for the race, and then it got reset, and then reset again. But still, tyre saving is important in these ones, and hopefully I can keep up the level that I'm driving at. I feel like I'm just getting better and better on these games, and hopefully the trend can continue.
Well, hopefully so. Obviously, podium and a win today, maybe a podium and a potential win next week. It's all up for the books. But I have to agree. I have seen Hungary strategies previously on and how the hard compound tyre is not something you would normally favour. Obviously, if it is a harder compound in the Pirelli range, with how technical and tight Hungary is, as it is nicknamed Monaco without the barriers, you want something that's grippy and technical. Maybe just going for shorter stints would work out. It also helps that it's only a 50% race distance, so maybe that is just the overall better strategy to go for. Overall though, it's been an incredible race win for you. I mean, you are the race winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix, so congratulations for that. Go celebrate that, man. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating you, absolute pleasure seeing what you've been able to do out on circuit, and it's been nice to see a nice redemption date for Finns.
Thank you very much.
Alright, well, ladies and gentlemen, that now leads us to the end of the broadcast. Obviously, we have one final thing to do, so just before you start leaving out, I got one question to ask you. Listen, I don't know. I don't know, because it's been so close. Who is driver of the day? I'm going to take the time to consider it, but who do you think, as the people who were watching from start to finish, maybe analysing things I could have missed out on, right? Who do we think is driver of the day? We're going to leave this up to the people, as they are the ones that usually decide it anyway. So please, let me know who should be driver of the day. If you don't know now, message me later, and then I'll get it back to someone sooner, and then we'll go from there. Seems like we got one for Websy. We'll let it go for around 30 seconds. I'll keep waffling on. But let's see. I know you can use the right trigger. I know you can move it around. I know. But if I'm holding my phone to my microphone, do you think I have all the time in the world to move the car around? It's just long, man. Because if I do this, hang on, if I do more info, I can't toggle the UI anymore. I can't get rid of it. Anyway, whatever the case may be, it's been fantastic talking to everyone, having an opportunity to do interviews with the drivers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Not only that, But a new race winner, a new completely different podium that we had previously. And the big thing, the one thing we should really point out, Intis Racing League reached 50 viewers, 5-0. Now, for, anyone who's a big streamer would go 50 viewers, it's nothing. When you have these league races and you have, people like Intis or DRS or OSRL previously, who's no longer running anymore, which is unfortunate, you start to really consider things like this, and you look at the viewership and whatever. This is not a normal number to be reaching. You're normally around the number of maybe 20 to 30, never 50. And that, it's not up to me to decide how many we get. It's not up to anyone else. It's up to you. And we simply have to give you a round of applause and just celebrate the fact that you put in all that support and love, not only for me as a commentator, I do my side of the job, but to really support and entertain the stream by your showing for the drivers. The drivers make it all happen. I just get to shout at them. So, with that being said, I think Broseph has kind of been the only one to really put an input in, so we'll go with it. Broseph Coop, driver of the day. Driver of the day for Websy at the very end of it, so congratulations to him. And with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are, 3 minutes away from that 3-hour mark? We got close, but we're not going to go on for another 3 minutes. It is Websy, driver of the day. It is Williams for constructors. And it is now a new race win for Finns. Next time round, we'll be in Hungary next Sunday for Tier 1. Make sure to join me. Make sure to join whoever's going to join me in the commentary box. From me, Jamie Perry, JP, and from Jenneth Lee, obviously all the way back on roughly lap 41 or 42. Goodbye and peace.